Martin, I need the key. Get your butt over here. I need the key. You want me to drive?
Yeah, sure.
I'll drive.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you. You're gonna pack, right?
Sure.
Good. All right, well, we're still fussing, folks. So I've thrown on here a video from COVID. Hey, Pablo. So I thought we just gonna, because we ran in the door, literally, this is the fastest I've ever put this outfit on. But I'm going to play you the videos we did during the first lockdown. Some of the jokes are old, but we did an Empire just to make, oh, thank you for the super
just a little over a year ago. Oop.
Hang on. Right. Thank God I don't have a lapel mic.
Yeah, really.
I just smacked my sword. So I want to play you guys these videos because I think you'll get a laugh out of them.
Hey, Harold.
And you'll get an idea of the characters. So hang on a second.
And Katie.
And I've got my butt in Martin's face. This isn't fair. What? Okay, here we go.
Captain, what did I do?
Social distancing, COVID-19.
Right. Are we taking the social distancing thing a little too far? Stay safe. Ahoy, all you scurvy dogs. It's me, Captain Flint. I mean, Quartermaster Flint of the Jade Dragon Pirates. With this COVID-19 virus going on, you best be keeping your social distancing and no boarding each other's ships.
So it means I should not be studying his clothes.
Good morning, Captain. What do you do?
I'm reading about simpler times.
Ah, simpler times. Yes, speaking of simpler times.
Yes.
When am I getting a ship again?
You lost the last one.
That wasn't my fault.
It's always your fault.
My quartermaster took off with it.
Yes, she's a smart woman, isn't she? So I guess you need new crew as well.
Aye, I do.
Well, then we'll have to ask people to send a carrier pigeon or something if they want to join the cruise. However, we also need a ship if we're going to make you captain again. Yes?
I've got just the one in mind.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. Is it a Navy vessel?
It is.
We have to take down Navy vessels.
Aye.
All right, then. So let's go to war.
Before you do that,
what?
Before you touch that, remember, we've got that virus thing going on.
Yeah.
Sanitize.
Right. Sanitize before touching.
There you go.
Okay. So I'm just going to rub it on.
You rub.
And hopefully it'll kill any virus.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Is this enough?
I'm good.
You're
Thank
good?
you. All right.
Okay. So that's enough. So let's go and get on those ships and take them down.
Oh, wait.
What?
We can't leave our ship.
Why not?
We can't go onto other people's ships.
Why not?
Because of the virus. We've got to maintain our social distancing.
Oh. So you want crew first, then ship.
Aye.
Oh, I suppose it'll work. Then I shall do that. You are not captain until you have crew and ship. As you know, if the virus passes, we need that crew in time for the Pirate Festival at the beginning of August.
Aye.
Ah.
All right.
FYI,
Right?
folks, the
We're there
Pirate
for
Festival
12,
never
right?
happened.
We're there
It
for
was
12.
canceled. They're hoping to this year. They're really, really hoping to this year. Fingers are crossed.
Where's the pistols? You left the pistols behind again, didn't you?
Oh, I put them somewhere safe.
You put them somewhere safe.
Aye.
Nowhere safe anymore. You know that.
Well, this is true. This is.
Did you sterilize them before you put them away?
I did.
You did? You completely,
Yes.
and you washed your hands afterwards?
Aye.
And the only reason why we can be this close is we live in the same place.
Right. We're on the same ship.
But you cough or sneeze or do anything on me, you're in trouble.
Oh no, you don't have to worry about anything about that.
What's wrong? You're not sick, are you?
Related. I'll be back. Captain.
Yes?
I've got a bit of a problem.
I expected as much. Oh, Flint!
Over here, Captain.
I have arrived.
Oh, you're a lifesaver.
I'm a lifesaver, am
you
I?
are. I seem to have dropped a bit of a cannonball off the poop deck, if
Ah.
you catch my meaning.
I do catch your meaning. You smell worse than the bilge.
Oh,
So I assume you need this, do you?
aye.
So, Flint,
Aye.
how much are you willing to pay for it?
I'll just use some dry leaves. I'm bored, Captain.
Are you?
Aye. All this social distancing is getting to me.
It's getting to a lot of people. Ah, why don't we play a game?
Excellent idea.
Pirate's Night.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, Captain,
What?
the cups. Don't worry. I've got a solution.
Ah!
There you go. The other cup.
The other cup. All right, then. I gotta divide my dice from yours. All right?
Right.
What?
The dice, Captain.
All right. My dice. I have the big cup. And your dice. You have the small cup. Cups.
The cups.
We really need a portable washing station. You know that,
We do.
right? All right. So here's yours. Here's mine. Oh, I'm worried about the dice winding up down through the holes.
Ah.
Ah, shut the box.
Okay,
we can
we can
use the
use
top of the box.
All right.
All right? All right.
The
What?
box.
All right. Ready?
Let's get my box in
Okay.
position.
Clint.
The
box. The cup. Three twos.
5 twos.
I say you're a liar. I say you're a liar.
Well, that's good, because we've run out of hand sanitizer.
Go.
I'm bored, Captain.
Are you?
Aye. All this social isolation is...
You want to do that
Ah,
again?
let's take that again. Just keep rolling. Just keep rolling. Social distance. Right.
Yeah, I went pretty
There you
far
have
with
it.
that last shtick. But we had a good time that day.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
was brand new in the
This was
lockdown.
a sign of the time, the new lockdown, and everyone was paranoid about everything had to be sanitized.
One at the time we were living with a friend too.
hmm
She's the one behind the camera.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
and a number of times she's like, I can't direct. I'm
We
like,
were-
just,
we were the-
just don't worry about it.
We were the only three people that we could actually be in contact with was her, her and the two of us, because we were living together when the lockdown was announced. So
So we put it up on the J Dragon
Yep.
page, and yeah, as they say, the rest is history.
Mhm.
I hope soon.
History.
soon. Oh God.
Whoop,
Trying to
sword.
get my outfit on. I realized how much I put on weight during this whole COVID thing. Yeah, we got to get strict. This whole overeating thing is just
Mhm.
crap. But even what we wanted to do today is our history challenge. Is we wanted to get on here, guys, and grab these costumes out and go through a lot of this stuff, because if the Pirate Festival happens this year, I want to be ready. I really need to be ready this time. And with stores not opening for another 2 weeks, possibly, probably, and who knows what stock they will or will not have. There's probably a lot of things that you and I may have to order.
Again,
Like,
yeah.
you
and
have to
still-
find
mhm.
money, put it on the credit card, and do it the blind way. I hate that because you have to wait and wait and wait.
Oh, I know, yeah.
So if the festival does go ahead this year, it'll be in August.
Mhm.
So that should give enough time for things to ship to us.
That's true.
So we
Yeah.
figured with the history challenge, we might as well do this now. Give ourselves all this time and to be able to resolve it, and to be able to get things together here, and have things done in time. And we brought everything out here because all of this will not fit in our little office / workspace.
Nope.
And what I wanted to do too is show you guys the difference between actual history and what we do as performers. Because, we can't be accurate. If we're accurate, then there's half it's the skits and the characters, and there's a lot of stuff that we wouldn't be able to do for a modern audience to make them
yeah.
interested in what we're doing.
And certainly wouldn't be kid friendly either.
And the expense.
Mm-hmm.
These already cost us a fortune to put together these outfits. It would cost us even more. So yeah, we wanted to be on here and make ourselves available in that way. Unfortunately, with the way things are set up, my reading what you guys are posting or saying is over here.
Do we want to get another table maybe
Be
and
careful
set the
what type
comments in
dry
front of us?
leaves. Yeah,
Yeah.
we literally ran in the door
Oh my God.
and
Yeah.
went straight
With
to grabbing
traffic
the
being what it
costumes,
was. Traffic
threw
being
them
what
on
it
the
was.
bed.
Yeah.
Hope there aren't any poison ivy from the leaves.
It-
No, if Martin used poison ivy to wipe himself, I don't think we'd be here today.
No. Well, every 7 years I'd remember that event.
Every 7 years, you'd remember. 7 years, is that a magic number?
Isn't that? I think that's actually what's supposed to
Here
happen.
come the bloopers. Yeah, we only put the one in. I've been thinking of going through all the old, J Dragon stuff, but again, we need time to find all the bloopers. Now that's gonna have to be really close to me, unfortunately.
Let's
because
see if
I
it'll.
don't have my glasses on. They're not gonna fit underneath all
Let's
this.
see if it works here and if it's still out of
And,
frame.
Okay.
Where my hand is. Yeah, I think it'll just be barely out of frame.
Sanitize those marbles in his mouth.
Blah, 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 blah.
Actually, can we have something that goes higher, so I'm not
Goes
looking into
higher?
my chest all the time?
Oh, you know what?
Because
Okay.
no, I still
Oh,
can't read it.
You still can't read it. Oh my. Okay.
Nearsighted.
It's going to put it to.
Mr.
We
Farsighted.
put it there and we put it
I
higher.
really, if
See,
you
it's
want me
already
to be able
starting
to
to be
read it, I
visible.
need here.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Who's
Wow.
this?
Hey.
Wow. And
Oh, well, we're
Victor
not
got a
using.
shot.
This isn't one of the pirate chests, so let's use it.
Hey, Martin, you look better after being in the facility. It's not a facility.
It wasn't a facility.
It's
Spent a little bit of time decompressing. Yeah. And we're not going to get into the subject about
and we're
that
not,
anyway.
we're not
Yeah.
going to talk about it.
It's got nothing to do with pirates.
Vince, we had this chat.
So
okay?
we okay with that being in frame?
I don't know. Is it in
It's
frame?
way in frame. It's like right here.
Well, that's not good.
No.
Because then I can't do this. This is why
Well, we put it back over there.
can I put it over here?
Yeah, move your trunk and the.
I don't mind my trunk in frame.
Well, that'll work. Well, it's not going to be in frame because it's so far down.
This is what happens when you have to do things really last second. You're gonna be mad at me when I say I'm down to 175. Stop. Chill. Harold, please. This menopausal thing and Martin and I emotionally not handling my menopause is not helping. So it's not that I'm going to be mad. It's that I'm going to be, I'm kind of pissed that you're not here swinging swords with me and encouraging me. So we're not going to talk about it. That's it. The COVID weight thing is done. Okay. That's
Is that better?
yeah. Phew.
Hmm?
I love you, Chill. We've already said that.
All right.
Oh, now Jedi Senshei's dripping. Guys, please, all my costumes are so tight. It's tough enough
This is
already.
not. Yeah, this is not doing well. So
Please, I've got to start moving again. I've been seizing a lot, and I haven't been doing the inversion table or anything like that.
Mhm.
And the rack is historical too.
we should do the rack. Yeah.
So shh. Shh. The traffic was bad going there and coming back.
Yeah.
Sorry, ASAP. Yeah. Dude, when are you going to be done? When are you going to be able? Because I want to put out a casting call. And there's one actor who's still interested in doing everything with us. And she's holding on really, 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 she's really holding on for everything. So I want to show her the pride and that I have in her and get us going, get us working on things. But yes, so there's something missing.
Liquid?
Like a tankard.
Our tankards are missing.
You know, the things that back then made them insane because there was lead in them.
Tankards are missing. That's right.
Historically, things like tankard and
is that why we
pewter,
went insane?
had lead in them. It's part of the reason why people went nuts pretty early in life is because they were constantly drinking from lead vessels. And one thing I'm going to say to all of you who want to do anything historical, do me a favor, make sure the tankard you purchased is not a lead tankard. Because it does still get used in tankards, in drinking vessels, but they're display vessels. They're meant for, awards. They're meant for putting pens in. They're not actually meant for you to drink from. And there's not as much lead as there was historically, but doesn't mean you should be putting your mouth to it because lead is bad. So
many a Roman went mad because of the lead plumbing that they invented.
That's true. That's true. So if you're going to go out and get a tankard, make sure it's a drinking vessel. Cheers. Not an awards vessel or I guess you can call them. I don't know. There's another word for it. I've forgotten now. But make sure it's lead free. Okay. Same with the makeup. Hi, Lisa. Good. Much love. Hi, Desiree. Christine needs a fake parrot on her shoulder. I miss my real parrot. I don't want a fake parrot. As much as we change things, we're not exactly historically correct. Fake parrots bother me. I want a real parrot again.
Yep. We had a member of our group back in BC had a real parrot.
And I
very
borrowed
well-trained
him
parrot.
all the time. Same with the makeup back then. Yes, the makeup had lead in it. The makeup, that smoky-eyed look that everyone thinks is great with the pirates and is fabulous for the sexy woman and stuff like that. That's because they used charcoal. They used charcoal. Right, yeah. They made They took charcoal and they made a paste out of it, and they brushed it on. But of course, it wasn't defined, and the paste usually had a fat or a lard or a carrier of that type. So
grease.
Yeah, anything that they could find that would make it stick, and yeah, it was a mess. You couldn't get any defined lines out of it.
Yep.
I watched both parts of Sailor Moon and Turtle. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Until the cats would be thrilled. No. Remember how Elizabeth, I was so pale. Yes.
Elizabeth the First was so pale.
Yes,
yeah.
That's why. That's exactly why. But we are focusing on the 1700s and we were focusing on pirates and that part of history. And there's a lot we have to go through to make sure everything works and is clean and is okay and what the differences are. We're going to start with the costumes. I discovered that, yes, I've put on weight. And my buckle has finally broke. There are sections of my buckle missing. So it looks like we are going to have to order a new buckle online.
Yeah. And
my belt is splitting. So it's definitely seen, that's how long I've been doing this character. A very long time.
Since 2005.
2005, yeah. And Flint didn't have a name back then. Neither did Charity, did they?
No, Flint didn't have a name until around 2008, I think.
Yeah.
And Charity wasn't named Charity until 2007.
Oh, 6.
For the 2006.
That's when we wrote the scripts.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
For the 2007 festival.
Right.
So she got named in 2006. So she only had to go a year without a name. You had to go 2 years.
Oh, no.
Oh, poor Flint.
Well, this is it because Flint wasn't involved in the festivals, our Renfest. Flint was
you got it, Harold.
My character for pirate festivals and outside events, right? So
the parrot was trained to follow whoever it was told to follow.
Yeah.
It was trained for production. It was trained for shows. And I got along with Coco just fine. So Coco and I wound up having a bit of a bond when basically the owner of Coco said that if she passed, she'd like Martin and I to take Coco, and I had to turn it down. I didn't want to, but
it's a lot of responsibility.
Parrots are a lot of work, and at least modern parrots.
And long term too, because parrots can live 50, 60, 70 years.
Try over 100.
Over 100 years, yeah.
There are parrots that have outlived
they're humans.
They're humans. So, I recommended that she to talk to her daughter first before trying to offer someone else the parent, because her daughter's got a greater chance of being there for Coco than we would.
Yeah.
I wanted to say yes because Coco and I did a lot of stuff, but we just couldn't. It wasn't realistic. Can you 3D print the buckle? I could, but as thin as I want to make it and as metallic as I want to make it, I'm not sure it'll survive the sword fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's definitely going to be real metal.
Part of the reason why this buckle has fallen apart is it's that thin poured metal stuff, and it's been bashed so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like this costume has been caught, bashed, and that's the thing too. People keep going, why are all my necklaces really short? Most of them are actually down inside. This one's in reach. Why are my necklaces really short? Historically, they didn't. The big long bead necklaces you see on the modern pirate, they never did that back then, because if you're in a fight and he wants to win or she wants to win, what's the first thing they're going to grab?
Yep.
The necklace. So your necklaces were always short, and most of your decoration was either on your ears, hence the pirate earring thing, or in your hair. That way you were less likely to be yanked in. Now, one thing I do definitely have differently that they didn't do back then is to show rank. My character has this big, huge, long bandana thing. This became, I don't know if it came across the East Coast, but all down the West Coast, a lot of the pirates who were ranked, like either captain or admiral or any higher rank, had these long bandana just to kind of indicate. And it's great because it's beautiful when you're in your sword fight. They're swinging and you get that great motion. But again, historically, you didn't do something like that because it was just way too easy for someone to just grab it and you were done.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? There's a cat doing something disastrous, isn't there?
And the other cat's going to check it out.
Hopefully it's
Something's
just their
going on.
toys. Hopefully they just move their toys into the kitchen. So we've got
What's
a
up,
nice
kids?
combination here of historical and not historical. Playing with his toy?
The
toy. Okay.
the treat thing. Yeah.
Oh,
light
Coco.
bulb.
Yeah, I miss Coco. Had 3 fur balls to look after. This is true. But actually, Coco's met Pippin.
That's true. Yeah. Pippin was very interested in Coco. Very curious.
And scared at the same
and scared
time.
at the same time. It's like, what is this thing?
This bird is bigger than I am. Yeah, but he
But
did.
feathers, but feathers,
Well, the feather smells different on the
bird itself.
On the bird itself.
As opposed to after it's been plucked. Yeah.
If any of you are cosplaying with
Right.
feathers, trust me, take them out and stroke them every once in a while.
They
You
like
think
it.
I'm kidding.
They like it.
Seriously, even though we're not that kind of
That kind-
broadcast.
Oh.
Oh, Martin, keep up.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Not
that kind of broadcast.
It is true because there is a level of oil still in the spine of the feather. And the best way to keep a feather healthy is to keep stroking it. And the more you stroke it, the more oil goes into the actual feathers themselves.
Mhm.
It can also discourage feather mites.
Yep.
Because feather mites are after the dried out feathers. So these big plumes get
Mhm.
before a show. Before a show, I always just sit there. You'll see me in the back, and I'll just be petting my feathers, and people just look at me funny. I'm like, no, seriously, this is how you
wants to
maintain
be
your
alone with her
costume.
feathers.
Just leave me alone with my feathers. Everything's fine. I might not be able to stay on. Just had a Cusack blackout. Oh wow.
Oh.
Okay. 1
a
second.
1
okay.
second blackout. Okay.
You might have to get a bigger belt buckle. I have to get a stronger belt buckle.
Stronger
but like I
belt
said,
buckle, yeah.
I've had this one for so many years. It was just a matter of time.
Since we started doing the 1700s
Yeah.
characters, yeah.
Yeah.
Before
Well, I
that,
had a-
Charity's belt was it had a ring buckle, didn't it?
I still do.
Yeah.
Like there's still the 1500s. I could go
Mhm.
back to using the 1500s. It's a much sturdier buckle. However, it's wrong for the time period.
This is
So
true.
if I'm going to
yeah.
wear the coat, I can't wear that buckle. So
Yeah.
that is where we definitely draw the line on silly things like that. Parrots are just like humans. Yes, they
Mhm.
are. They're very smart too. They're just like, they're brilliant. Actually, I think they're smarter than most humans.
Oh yeah.
Most humans, not our
Most humans,
audience,
yeah.
just most humans, the ones who aren't here. That's right. Oh, thank you, Desiree. I am so cinched in here. We had to put a new hole in the belt.
Oh no, yeah.
Martin, we've got to
Mhm.
dedicate, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Exercise. When we go out poking.
Jogging at dawn.
But sorry, what? We can't jog
Jogging
at night when I
jogging at-
prefer.
huh? Yeah.
While
okay.
the sun is down and we don't overheat
Hmm.
until I get healthier again and you catch up. You know, you need a
Mhm.
bandana, by
regular
the way.
stretches.
What
Yeah, my
years?
bandana disappeared possibly sometime in the move
Just
from
slightly circumference.
BC to here. So I haven't had a bandana in a long time.
There is a real purpose to the bandana, of course, to keep sweat out of your eyes,
Mhm.
especially when you're wearing a hat like this. I also have a leather hat. I don't wear the leather hat was what my character was established on, and it's not too far fetched to have something like that exist back then. But yeah, I when it's warm like this, we've got the AC on right now, and I'm still pretty warm.
Mhm.
So this hat was made by a gentleman in Oregon who does cowboy hats normally, and he custom made this one for me, and I had one made for the character of Cobbs, and I had one made for one of the other characters as well,
Mhm.
the 3 senior officers basically. And you're gonna have to get a hold of them
You have
because
to get a hold of them. Yeah.
I think we spent the money we put aside for the hat,
Hmm.
so we might
This
be
is a good
cashing
point,
in
yeah.
on haps soon
We might,
to be
yeah.
able to afford a hat for you. So you can have a
Haps for
senior
hats?
haps for hats.
Haps for hats.
Haps for
There we
hats.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me before the sun comes
Yeah,
up.
'cause
No.
we sent them the measurements and everything else. They sent this little fancy little gauge gadget that sits on your head, and you adjust a bunch of things, and you can trace the outline, like the shape of your head.
I don't get up that early unless you're paying me.
Hmm.
We cheated a little on this coat because a coat for the time period would have had a complete lining. I'm swinging swords. I don't want a complete lining because, again, overheat. I was actually in this costume. The 1500s version is a leather bodice, a leather fighter's bodice instead of the cloth vest, leather van braces, the leather hat, and of course my boots, which are
Silk
leather.
shirt, yeah.
I overheated so much I went down. They had to call an ambulance for me. So we're smart now. Charity's got 3 wardrobes. I don't know where my summer shirt
Hey,
is, or I'd
Foamy,
be.
how are you?
Hi,
Thanks
Foamy.
a lot. Great
Um,
costumes, he
I
says.
have
Nice.
no idea where my summer shirt is, or I'd be wearing it right now. I'm hoping it didn't get left behind in BC, or I have to make another shirt. I don't want to make another shirt, but my summer shirt is a really, really thin cotton.
Mhm.
And when we go historically correct in a lot of these materials, this shirt and this is all linen and cotton, so it breathes.
Mhm.
Pants are all linen and cotton, but unfortunately, this was a temporary vest I whipped up, and it's not. So this is
Mhm.
mostly what's suffocating me.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
have those costume guys on speed dial.
You mean the hat guys? Because the rest of the costumes we do that all ourselves. We're just not
Well,
going
my
to
coat
try
was
to get
custom made for
delve
me.
into the hat.
I
That's true,
was
yeah.
not. This is a. I don't know where she is now, which is a shame because I get her to make one for Martin. But this was a
Mhm.
labor of love for her. I mean, everything is properly pleated, so I have
Oh,
room to
there's
fight.
huge pleating in this
The
thing.
sword, the slits are right where my sword normally sits. So when I have my sword on, I can. I'm not wearing it right now because there's no room back here because the sword will go. It usually goes between the handle and the seat. But yeah, this was a love. This was a labor of love for her, and she did an amazing job. But it's this vest that's killing me because it's an artificial fiber. If you're gonna layer on, layers and layers and layers like this, don't buy artificial fibers.
Yeah. You will overheat for sure. Battle fan.
Do we know where my battle fan is?
I know battle fan is here. I just
Okay.
have to remember where here.
Where? Oh, great.
Am
Okay,
I
sit
tracking
down
down
and-
battle fan?
Get down on your knees and start fanning me.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah. I'll go find battle fan. Oh, there's my sword again.
That's better.
So these swords do not
Your
like
short
sitting
sword
on
is having a hard time. His sword is shorter than mine. Oh, nice! I love all the emojis. Beautiful. Woohoo!
I remember seeing battle fan around here in the living room somewhere. Or did it get-
This chair with the Rackham flag on it, which is a flag from history. It was the flag that belonged to Calico Jack, who was actually John Rackham. I created the character Charity Ann Rackham as a hint that he had a mother that may have been secretly a pirate. And when I did the research on the family name, I discovered that the Rackhams were nobles, but caused problem in the
Gotcha.
courts. And part of the reason they caused problems is they didn't like taxing the villages that they were responsible for. So they were trading and bartering. And it took a while before they were caught up. And the courts basically said, we're kicking you out of the courts. And so one by one, the Rackhams were removed by the courts and their properties taken away from them. And some of them actually did turn to things like piracy, highwaymen. The family has quite a history. So I thought, since Calico Jack was a pirate, an infamous pirate that had 2 females as his top 2 officers, and that's Anne Bonny and Mary Read. And I thought, what better story to have a mother or a grandmother that may have just been a pirate after all. So I kind of, and when I first created the Jade Dragon Pirates, I was the only female. We've got a couple females since then in order to tell certain storylines, but I was the only female on crew. So the name Charity came about because what's the one thing you don't, when you're a female captain, what's the one thing you don't give an all-male crew? Charity. So that's how her
I
name...
saw Battle Fan.
Oh, don't worry about it.
All right.
Don't worry about it. I will just do my best to keep calm.
And carry
And
on.
Bonnie, yes, that's right. This chair actually came off the Stargate set. They were going to throw it out.
Here it goes again.
And Martin and I said no. So we put the rackham on it, and I took some light gold staining and put it in all the lower areas and created my pirate chair. And there's not much padding left in it.
Oh, I know. It really needs some reupholstering.
We have to reupholster it big time. I may actually reupholster it to purple instead of red.
Yeah, would make sense.
I may change my mind.
Mhm.
Oh no, that'll blend in with the coat.
Oh,
Black.
black works.
Oh, black velvet. I'm sorry, I had a moment, folks. I hope the Pirate Festival happens too. They don't pay a lot, and this year they may ask us to volunteer in order to give them financial, recovery time. But they pay half decently, and they're good friends that are running it. So we just may volunteer this year. But yeah, fan me, oh loyal one. I know. And look at this; he's still not down there. Women in piracy, yes. Actually the most tyrannical. I'm trying to remember her name now. She was an Asian pirate.
Oh,
She basically took over her husband's whole fleet and just grew and grew and grew. She took down ship after ship after ship. And when she finally retired, she basically started a little sort of, bed and breakfast type, tavern type. And she retired running that. And she basically sold her ships to another captain and lived quite well for the rest of her life.
Cheng Yi Sao,
There you go. Thank you.
also known as Ching Shi.
So, women in piracy is actually a big thing. It's just a lot of people aren't. Where's her story? Someone tell her story. We're talking about women pirates. But yeah,
Ching-Chi?
they're just not talked about. Go with black. Yeah, I'm thinking black velvet might be nice. Hi, Helga. On the ship during the festival, one of you guys need to walk the plank. Walk the plank is a modern invention.
It is.
We don't walk the plank.
It is a misconception.
Because you have to repair things, you have to keep that ship going, and you could be out there for months on end. The last thing you want to do is get someone to walk the plank and watch a good piece of wood snap in half because it's got a little bit of rot in the middle or something, when instead you might need it to fix your hull. Walk the plank is a modern invention. It started in about the 1920s. With a lot of popular culture and misinterpretation of pirates. The most common pairs of disciplines were one was called Moses' Law, and the other one was basically you are shark bait. Martin, where's my whip? No, we're not that kind of broadcast. Thank you for being on. So the modern whips that I haven't actually worked with the whip for a long time. Is it in that one?
trunk.
Okay. Yo, I like that. Yo, Pirates of the Caribbean. Maybe when you guys are Are you guys role playing? No, Jazzy, we're educating. We are educating. So every captain had their whip, and you can see this one's got its
Little belt loop.
belt loop. And we don't carry around historically what the kind of whip they would use, because the whip they would use is usually a little shorter, and this is a little basically sound maker, so that when you whip this one, this stiff piece on the bottom makes the sound. It's a cracker. And instead of that, because this is meant for show, you can use it, but I wouldn't recommend you try to use it on someone. It's more just to get that cracking sound. But instead of the cracker, they would have little spikes on the end. And for different kinds of disciplines, you were whipped different numbers of times. If you got Moses' Law, that was a death sentence, which means they would whip you with a little spike on the end of the leather, and usually about 6 or 7 leathers on the end, not 2 like this one's got.
Mhm.
Actually, this one used to have 4. I've kind of ruined them. But this one is almost time for retirement, isn't it?
Mhm.
But
It's getting there, yeah.
if you got 40 lashes, Moses' law was 40.
Yeah.
If you survived, you were put to shore at the next dock because you deserve to survive, but you don't deserve to stay on the crew.
Hmm.
If you didn't survive, well, then you became shark bait. Now, believe it or not, pirates were very religious. They believed
were,
in God,
yeah.
and they believed that God sent them out to be this way, and they were
It was
very Christian Catholic.
They're calling to rise up against the oppression. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they supported anyone from any culture or religion to be on board simply because they're crew. They weren't slaves. They didn't have to follow the same religion, but the captain was rarely anything but a Christ-based religion of one sort or another. And because of that, when someone dies or is killed, you can't eat them. That's cannibalism.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do is tie them to the end of a long rope, throw them overboard, make sure there's a small cut so they're bleeding, throw them overboard, wait till the shark chomps down, because the shark is not going to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Drag the shark onto deck, and then
Club it to death.
Do we have
the belaying pins?
We don't know.
Not right off
we
the
had
bat, no.
belaying pins.
Mhm.
But belaying pins are basically what you tie the ropes to in order to keep the flags and the sails and everything else from dropping.
Mhm.
And then they club it to death with the belaying pin, and they cook the shark. And then they'd wrap the body. Sometimes if there wasn't enough fabric to spare, they just put them overboard.
Mhm.
So they got a funeral, they got the prayer, they got everything that good Christian or Catholic or
Mhm.
Presbyterian or any of the many Christ-based religions,
Anglican.
Anglican, we showed
Of the
respect,
time, yeah.
but we had to use them as bait first, best bait.
Mhm.
So when you hear someone say shark bait, that's what they're talking about.
Yep.
You're going to get thrown overboard. You're going to get pricked, thrown overboard, and that shark's going to take you out. Not me, because I'm innocent. So that's where shark bait comes from.
Mhm.
I only know about Pirates from Johnny Depp. Well, you're missing a lot.
I'm missing a whole lot.
I described.
I mean, there was a
Moses'
lot
Law.
of sort of
I'm not gonna use the whip in here,
semi-accuracy
honey.
in Pirates of the Caribbean, but it was really sensationalized.
Well, yeah, we've got to sell.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there's a nice combination between real, and there are some things that we don't tell kids at festivals.
Mm.
Just some things we don't tell kids. Like what bugger means. Bugger was how they taught boys how to do it. And it was usually up the butt. And it was usually a senior officer.
Yep.
So if someone says you're buggered, tell them that they may want to rethink their choice of words.
Aye. Mhm.
Thank you, let it be. Some pirates are cannibals. No, you're talking about, we're talking more about European and Spanish, and we're talking about the golden age of piracy.
French and Dutch pirates.
And
Yeah.
you didn't, because God would not forgive you. That was a huge no. Cannibals are a whole different thing.
Yeah.
A whole different thing.
I mean, there were stories of Edward Teach, Blackbeard, right? But they were stories. They were sensationalized to strike fear into, the hearts of the Navy and the opposing vessels.
Blackbeard. We're talking a man who would stick wicks in his beard.
Yeah.
Cover them in oil so they would burn faster and not singe his actual beard hair, so he could get that flame effect,
smoldering and smoking and all that sort of thing. And
Teach was the biggest liar.
He came across as a wild man, but he was a showman. As a pirate, he was a showman, just to strike that fear.
Hell, he shot his first in command, his second in command, his first mate. He shot his first mate in the foot because his first mate had gotten a woman pregnant and was torn between getting back on the ship with him or being responsible for his pregnant, for this pregnant woman, and whether or not, he should marry her. And Teach said, no, you're marrying her. And he's like, but I want to go back out pirating. So he pulled out his gun underneath the table and shot the guy in the foot and said, you can't come back on board. You're useless. Let me give you the rest of your pay.
Yeah. you're being discharged, so you can raise that family that you just created.
I mean, we're talking the biggest showman on the planet. I mean, forget about circus showmen. Forget about all the salesmen. We're talking about someone who's willing to shoot his first mate in the foot and then give him his pay. Because remember, everyone got paid on a pirate ship according to their job. Right? Gave him his pay, declared it damage in battle, so he got full retirement pay, and told him to go take care of his soon-to-be wife and his child.
As much as Blackbeard was a ruthless pirate, he looked after his men, right? And he was very honorable in that way.
Hi, Takara.
So not so much an entertainer. He was.
I always have impeccable time.
He put on that persona to frighten his opponents, right? To terrorize people.
Yes, Blackbeard was very much an entertainer,
Mhm.
Vince. Was there a Sinbad?
Sinbad is entirely
That's not
fictional.
piracy. Yeah,
Entirely fiction.
that doesn't. fall
There
within
may
the
have been
realms of
characters that Sinbad, people in history that Sinbad may have been inspired
off of,
by,
yeah.
but based on. But the character Sinbad, from all of those stories, is entirely fictional.
But there's a lot of things that pirates had to endure, and we do teach the kids some of those things, because we don't want to ruin their illusions, but at the same time we don't want them to be completely ignorant. And I've got that's the games box. That's my chest.
Yes.
The captain's chest.
Mm-hmm. I like the
Why don't we
captain's chest.
do? I'm sure you do, but we're not that kind of broadcast. Why don't we take care of the swords first? Because right now my sword is in the way of my chest.
It usually works out that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
And that's all these women running around in corsets and they got their swords in their hands, and no freaking way. Okay, you're gonna take out your own nipple trying to get your blade out by wearing those things. Fighter's corset's something completely different.
Yeah.
But that whole Winchy thing, forget it. In a real battle, nuh-uh.
Yeah, would not go over well.
Skull and crossbones is cool, and all its different forms.
Yeah, the pirate flag, right? The colors, as they're called. Every pirate had a different one, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that shortly.
After we get the swords out of the way. During the pirate festival, do you guys educate them before you start the festival? Well, what we do is ouch, yeah, I know. Well, Amazonian archers would cut off one chest so that they can get more power out of their bow. And when they had children, they'd hand them over to. That's where the whole it takes a village attitude. They'd hand them over to basically a nursemaid, and she'd bring them up. And they'd the wet nurse, yeah. And then they'd keep the wet nurse pregnant so she can constantly produce milk. Amazonian. No, I'm not answering that. And why? I turned my volume off. Hang on, everyone. Be patient. I did.
You sure?
Yes.
Positive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only fools are positive.
Are you sure?
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Positive. Okay, fine. But yeah.
Oh, stop that! Stop that, minions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, Amazonians, they after they had the baby, of course, they would have some milk out of the second, and they would do an old they would take it out, and I can't remember what they put them in. It wasn't glass. It was like a sealed vessel, and they would put it in the stream so that it would stay chilled. So yeah, a lot of what we do today has some very nasty beginnings. So yeah. Oh, I like Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, I definitely like Pirates of the Caribbean. But everyone does it. Everyone does the shtick. So what we do is we set up a tent, a historical tent, and and those things are a pain to set up, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Canvas and wooden poles and rope line and
spoiled.
stakes and
Modern society, we are so spoiled. And we set that up, and we have them into the tent. And we do trivia with them. We play games with them. We teach them some of the games they would have had on board the ship. And then we rope off the area, and we do a carbide cannon so a kid can shoot his own cannon for the first time. And we do sword fighting. And then we undo the ropes again once all the weapons are safely away, so the kids can't play with them and touch them. And then we go back to doing trivia and stuff for the rest of the day type thing. And we'll do 2 or 3 sword fights or 2 or 3 cannons. It depends on what the event wants. I did put it on silent, Vince. I put
That's
the
what the
volume
confusing
down.
thing is. Yeah,
That's why I'm confused. That's okay. We'll just ignore. Who's the captain? I am.
she is, and she's also the admiral.
Admiral means you have access to 5 ships minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And we wrote into the storylines about how Charity each year took down a ship. And I don't know, how big is my fleet now? I don't even remember.
I think you're up to 6 ships.
Just 6?
Rackham-
I thought it was
the
up to
Rackham
like
fleet is-
8 or 9.
I lost count then. Wow.
Oh, whew. I'm the captain now. Remember that line. Before the festival, do you guys do tons of research on how the pirates go through? Well, we don't have to anymore. We've been doing this.
We've been
for
researching
so
this stuff for
long.
years. We're always, I mean, we're always learning new things and brushing up on our knowledge. But yeah,
Swords. There's a huge difference between pirate swords and Navy swords. First of all, pirate swords and Navy swords, what they have in common is the fact that they show rank. In the Navy, they're so particular about look that, at least back then in the 1700s, I'm not sure about now, I haven't checked, their commanding officers would wear these short little swords that are just, they're nice, they're decorative, they're pretty, and then all their crew would have these longer swords because, they're skinnier, you got to be able to defend yourself, right? Well, the problem is pirates did it the opposite. Senior officers had longer swords. Junior officers had shorter swords. Now, Martin will have a longer sword when he's actually performing because he's a quartermaster. And a quartermaster is a very high rank. So he'll have one of these, right? But for the sake of demonstration, keep it up. Keep your sword up.
keep my sword up.
Wow. Well, we're not that kind of broadcast. Oh my God, I didn't think pirates would do that many times, but I should have known better.
Yeah, it's how many times at festivals and events,
Dear BC
Dear
Russell,
BC,
yes.
Dear Jade Dragon Pirates. Yeah.
So the reason was because the senior officers would stay up and out of the way. And they'd send the junior officers in with the shorter swords. The reason for this is because when you've got a bunch of people who are going at each other, trying to take each other down, the shorter sword is easier to swing in a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even get this sucker out if you're, bogged down with people all over you.
And if you're boarding another vessel, you're going below decks. There's very little space. There's hardly any ceiling space, right? Any headroom, and there's very little space from one side to another. So yeah, having a shorter sword is definitely an advantage.
Definitely. So it's I wouldn't have to use my blade unless someone got past my crew. And then, if enough people got past my crew, I'd have plenty of time to pull out my sword.
You're standing up on deck, picking them off as they come up out of the hold, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's
The
another thing too.
stragglers.
The eye patch thing, it doesn't mean you lost an eye.
No.
Before you knew you were going to go into battle, a portion of your crew would be assigned to go below decks on the other vessel. So you'd wear the eye patch over one eye, keeping your eye adjusted to the dark. You board the other vessel, you get to just below decks, you change the patch to the other eye. So the other eye doesn't have to adjust. And this one's already adjusted. And you can get them as they try to come up into the light. You're already got them. You've already taken them down. So there is merit to the eye patch. Now, these are steel. These are fightable steel. Like I said, on Anything Can Be a Weapon, the one panel we did for the convention for Anime North. Do not swing, hit things with, or use in any way, shape, or form that deals with impact any kind of steel that is not designed to be fought with. These are made from by Starfire Blades. We get a 40% discount because we are a company. If you prove to them that you are an entertainment company in some way, shape, or form, they will give you the discount as well. But they sell full price to everyone else. This particular saber, he still makes, thank God. And he has it on his page for, I think, 520 or 550 US. And the hacker here, the flat blade, these are beautiful blades. They're really nicely weighted. That one is a 250 US blade because they're easier to make with the flat back. These are designed for combat. They are covered under the American Fight Association. So our insurance company says, yes, please, thank you. Whereas but I don't care if it says it's steel, if it's poured steel, there might be bubbles inside. Historically, this is what they would have fought with. this weight, this flex, and they don't need to have sharp edges. That's also a misconception. Sharp edges on a blade like this will shorten the lifespan of your blade.
Yep. It'll chip a lot easier, and then you'll have a jagged, unusable, not sharp blade anymore.
You put sharp edges on daggers, not swords. Now, you can see this is so, I don't know if you can see if the camera will pick it up or not, because they're actually pretty small, but you can see they're chewed up in the edge. That's sharp enough, because all those little burrs will cut through you long before the steel does. We've put these through trees just to show people to be safe. So if you wouldn't mind moving the swords out of the way, Martin.
Out of the way.
And the scabbards. I love my scabbard. And we use a plastic for the inside of our scabbards. We don't use wood. Historically, it would be wood, but wood rots. So again,
wood also retains a lot more moisture, which is bad for your blade as well.
Martin's not the first mate. He's my quartermaster.
Quartermaster actually had a higher rank than the first mate. First mate was basically the captain's right-hand man to relay information to the ship, to the crew. The quartermaster handled all the finances. He handled all the bookkeeping, the records, and basically managing. He was the guy in charge of the ship, whereas the captain was the ruling officer, and second highest paid.
So you got money.
Aye.
Damn. I have to be nice to you, don't I?
Aye.
Because if I'm not nice to you, you're holding back my pay, aren't you?
Fudge a few things in me ledger, and you know. Oh no, Captain, we didn't do so well this week.
Yeah. I want my fancy wine.
Your port?
My port. That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Vince, thank you. That's very flattering. A ship called Car Hunger. No, we are the Jade Dragon Pirates, and we've been the Jade Dragon Pirates for a long time. And when I'm performing, I'm Charity Ann Rackham. I'm not Christina. So yeah, we don't do that. Yeah. Now Car Hunger owns the Jade Dragon Pirates, so that's a whole different thing.
So the Jade Dragon is the name of the ship.
I got a long sword, couldn't help it. Well, Jazzy, neither could your parents because they created you.
That's right.
How many ranks are there with swords? Well, the question is, are you senior officer or just crew? Crew short sword and senior officers long swords.
Pretty much everyone gets a sword. I mean, you're not very useful if you don't have a sword or an axe or some kind of a boarding weapon. Right.
Keep your swords oiled. Yes, we use gun oil. We have seen people come up to us and go, "What did I do wrong with my sword?" What you did wrong with your sword is you used vegetable oil, and now it's gooey and sticky and sticking to the inside of your scabbard
and attracting bugs.
Yeah.
You know.
No. Gun oil, folks. Gun oil, and do not touch your blade. If you do touch your blade, wipe it off. These aren't stainless steel. Just your fingers can leave like marks on your blade.
They will actually etch your fingerprints into the blade if the oils from your fingers are allowed to stay on the blade for an extended period of time.
How many pirates with swords that are ranked? Depends on the crew.
Yeah.
The size of your ship. We're a caravel, so technically we have about 20 crew.
About 20, yeah.
So comfortably about 20 without us killing each other. So yeah, everyone would junior crew would have daggers, but your senior crew is your captain, first mate.
Yep.
Your quartermaster mate.
Yep. The bosun.
Gunner mate.
Yeah.
Bosun's mate.
Yeah.
Now we're talking a larger ship if we go past that.
Yeah.
Those are our primaries. Right. So that's 8 and the rest would be crew.
Yeah. So a dozen just general crew members, here you go up on the rigging, whatever.
And piracy is politics, which explains a lot about modern politics. If it wasn't for piracy incorporating into their structure a lot of what the Romans had, we wouldn't have modern politics. I mean, face it, all our politicians are pirates.
Yep.
But yeah, a captain could be voted out if enough of the crew. It's not called a mutiny if there's a vote.
That's right.
So, and the captain would have to accept a smaller position.
Now, if the captain opposes, then there becomes problems. But
well, then they get left off at the next port.
Yep.
Bye. There goes your career.
You get dropped on an island with a bottle of rum and a pistol with a single shot in it.
Yep. If you can't survive, by all means, you either try to get food or you try to take yourself. Star Trek is based on ships.
Well, it is. Yeah. I mean, Starfleet is a navy.
Yeah.
Right. So. Sword lube.
My sword is lubed. Good for you. Let me guess. KY? No, gun oil. We can roll with it.
Yeah.
With the Jade Dragon Pirates, who is the captain that is running the ship?
She is.
And plus I'm admiral. It's not normal, and that's why we wanted like Charity is off her rocker. She's an ex-noble, so she's completely unstable.
Completely out of her gourd.
She was abandoned on an island for a number of years, where she slowly went nuts. So she's yeah, like Martin said, out of her gourd, and it just because of that, she won't let go of her ship. Normally, when you become an admiral, someone else captains your ship, and a quartermaster usually takes over as captain, and then someone else gets moved up to quartermaster, usually a mate, like a quartermaster's mate or the captain's first mate. But yeah, in our case, Charity was not going to let go of her ship because it makes good storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only historically that would not happen. But we needed some good storytelling, and we needed to solidify the fact that Charity is completely nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, this crew just keeps following her. You guys, if you look for BC Renaissance Festival storylines, you'll find the beginnings of Charity.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see how, doing her, I get exhausted. I sleep like a rock every night because she takes so much energy to do as a character.
She's a brilliant strategist, but at the same time completely nuts, which makes her very dangerous because she's very unpredictable as a result.
And an ex-noble, so she still has ins with the courts. So she knows people. So yeah, we've had many a king and queen in our storylines saying to her, "Look, whoa, don't do that damage. What do I have to do?" And they make great storylines. And we've made our kings at the end. They always wind up with a bargain that Charity didn't expect, but at least she walks away with something.
Yeah. Or she becomes a privateer, which is the other difference.
How many times has my character been a privateer, then not a privateer, then a privateer, and then not a privateer?
And a privateer is basically a pirate that's hired by a government or a king or a nobility to attack someone else. And
so
keep
the
it
pirates
on the
get
down
to keep,
low, sort of.
The privateer gets to keep a cut, but they have permission. So, can you imagine if cell phones were around back then?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Hi, Henry. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
George, yeah, Henry offered me more. Really? You're going to do what? Oh, really? Well, I might be willing to work for the French for a while. Yeah. So what do you?
Can you imagine that? Just wheeling and dealing
in the middle of the ocean on a cell phone. Charity begins at home. Thank you, Jazzy.
That's true.
What's mutiny then? Crew overthrown. Mutiny is a Navy term.
Yeah. You see, the Navy, unlike the pirates, the Navy was not a democracy. The captain was the ruling body of the ship. If people were treated horribly in the Navy, which is why so many pirates are ex-naval officers, because they said, screw this, I'm leaving, I'm joining the pirates. Because the pirates, you had a say in how the ship operated.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no need for mutiny on a pirate ship.
If you were a musician, you were also a priest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every Sunday, the musician was the only one that was allowed to do nothing on Sunday, because the musician started the day with music and mass, and then he got to sit around and do nothing all day.
Yep.
So if you're a musician and you're frustrated because you're going from town to town to town and you don't mind the ocean, get your butt on a ship. Get your butt on a pirate ship. You'll get paid well, and every Sunday you get off. The rest of us don't, but you do.
Yep.
It's
dangerous as hell, but if you're willing to live that lifestyle,
remember, grab your sword, not your guitar.
That's right. Your lute, or your concertina, or your fiddle, or whatever else.
I want you to learn how to play a concertina.
Yeah,
because I think it would look good on you.
I could see that. Flint sort of sitting there, feet up on the table, playing away the concertina.
I've got my drum. You have a concertina. We can do it.
I like that idea. Yeah. All right then.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
We need to find a concertina.
That's why are they called the Pittsburgh Pirates? Because it rolls off the tongue. I don't know. Ask the team.
We back on the do we get to fire the cannons?
Hey, Katrina.
Back on the West Coast, we did. We worked alongside some of the black powder groups down in the States. That way we didn't have to bring our own down. and we had our licensing and our insurance and everything, so we were always on the firing line. What we have is, I don't know if it's in shot. Is it in shot?
What?
Is my cannon in shot?
Your cannon
Can you
is
reach my
above your head. It's just kind of in shot. I'll grab it.
This is the cannon.
Harold's got those lines, those immortal lines. I love that song.
God damn them all.
I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last to bear its private tears.
Flint would play the concertina. I think you should. Mm-hmm. You need to find an organ grinder. Birdman with an organ grinder.
Oh yeah. Does your bird go around with a?
I can see that. Hi, Birdman. But what would he have? Because the Birdman with a monkey doesn't make sense.
No, it wouldn't. No.
What would Birdman have with his organ grinder? Everyone ponder that and tell Birdman what you think. It's a pirate Game of Thrones. That's true. See, Flint started as my gunner, and he worked his way up. That's why he's Flint.
Yep.
What did
your earbud keeps jumping? My earbud keeps jumping ship.
So these are carbide cannons. You can buy them in the States pretty regularly. The ones they sell in the States are for kids are smaller. It says a lot about Canadian and American regulations. They won't stop you from making a carbide cannon in Canada, but they don't sell them here. You have to order them from the States if you want them made. But this one we designed for children because the ones we normally use on the mini brakes, because we used to also grab one of the small ones.
They're both up there. They're both up there.
They're both down there, yeah. We used to, people we know in the States have mini brakes. So J Dragon Pirates would claim one. And these were the ones we put on the mini brakes.
Maybe we need to describe that. A mini brig is basically a little tiny sailing boat that's been converted to look like a pirate ship. And you sit two people on it, one with a little electric motor because it's easier, and the other one with one of these.
And so the one with one of these fires at each other. And the kids love watching us, and it's so much fun. It's literally like going back to childhood. But the problem with these is it's an open hole, and you use usually a barbecue lighter. And sometimes you get a little too much carbide in there and you get this horrible backflash that comes out that hole.
Yeah. So not only do you get a big flame coming out here, but you got a nice flame coming here right into your face.
So you got to know how to do it safely. And that's why we use barbecue lighters on these, because you got to be far enough away or you're going to singe your hand. And we've had actors who we've said, listen, you're going to go out on the mini breaks. You're going to fire at each other. This is how you do it. Pay close attention. Oh, I'm fine. And then they come back because we're on shore doing trivia with the kids, and we all took our turns on the mini breaks, and one of them would be holding their hand and cradling it. And it's like, let me guess, you singed all the hair off the back of your hand. I didn't think I was going to do that. What did we say? Too much carbide in the cannon creates a backflash.
It's got to go somewhere.
So to have the kids be able to shoot a cannon, we made a larger one. This is Charity's. This is Charity's specialty cannon. She's
we know called it the Captain's Voice, I think.
Yep, the Captain's Voice. And what this one is it's much more kid friendly because it's closed off. You have to unscrew this lovely little cap here. The carbide goes in there, so we put the water in, which is we've got a compartment back here for the water, and we give the kids these pre-measured amounts. So it looks like gunpowder. It's not, but it looks like gunpowder. And then I put it in. And then we screw the little lid on, which is awkward from this position, but hey. And then what we did was we designed it so the compartment is safe inside and it's the barbecue lighter inside. So we count to 10, we let the gas build up inside, and then they press the button. And then the barbecue lighter goes spark, and they get a nice little fireball at the front. Sometimes it doesn't work so well, and we give them another chance. Sometimes if you go over about 10 of them, it starts not working at all. Other times it builds up so much inside because a few kids went really fast together, back to back, usually siblings, and there's so much gas stuck in the chamber that the third kid gets like a massive bang.
Oh. It's huge.
A massive fireball at the end. But of course, back then it would have been all black powder. And this is about the size of a deck cannon. It's a tiny bit smaller than a deck cannon. But these suckers packed a punch back then.
Yep.
I wouldn't recommend you put anything in here to fire because the only thing that's light enough that can be pushed by that gas, because it's gas. It's not like the explosion that you get with black powder. same effect, but same look and feel, but not the same thing. It's much safer. But you'll just anything light enough will just be ignited.
Mm-hmm.
It
Like
or
you
melted.
could drop a ping pong ball in there; it's about the right size, but you have a flaming ping pong ball. Way too dangerous.
So these technically dry fire when you think about it.
Yep.
It was a crude attempt at a sexual innuendo.
Oh, the organ grinder comments.
Fine.
Back in the early days, we had one of our pirate crew. He was a little bit awkward and didn't quite get all of the jokes and everything. But we ended up because of a certain incident that happened. That's way too much to explain. We called his pirate Grinder, and he loved it. He thought, "Oh, Grinder, that's a great one." But it was kind of a little joke behind his back.
That happened with you with fireworks. Oh, Jazzy.
Yeah.
It's a pirate.
Same
Please don't
concept.
try this at home. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You need a candle lighter from a Catholic church about 3
feet long. Exactly. It's way over there.
Get wax inside there. Woo-hoo.
Well, that's the
pirates trade spices. Pirates bought and sold, but they didn't really trade.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never really know what you need until you get back on shore, and then you got to be very particular.
Yep.
Because you only have so much, so you sell it off for as a high a value as you can, and then you buy what you need for the ship.
Mm-hmm.
A hey, matey.
A hey, ahoy, ahoy, a hey.
Ahoy. But yeah, can you put a bottle rocket in there? I wouldn't recommend it. There's probably still some carbide residue inside, and that would
be bad.
That would be bad. That would be very, very bad. We take really good care of our weapons because we have to. We really, really have it. Altar Boy, I believe it. Heroin.
That was your alter ego?
Oh.
What?
Really?
Yes.
Thanks. And that leads us quickly to guns. Flintlocks, where's mine and where's yours? See, and here's a big thing too. This fits nicely in my belt. It was common for the flintlock to be in your belt. Very rarely did you have a holster because you really didn't have the money or the time or the effort. And this one's made for stage. You can see there's a post here, whereas Martin's isn't made for stage. It's just made for good looks. Because you can see the flash pan is actually how it was done. I don't know if they can see that. Maybe they can if you hold it forward a little.
Sure.
Okay.
So this is a little more accurate look, but it has no function whatsoever because it's a toy essentially. It's a replica.
So we're thinking of reinvesting for him a similar gun with the same thing mine is, because if he's going to start performing in this level, because he wasn't before. I had my fighters with me. Now Martin.
See where the difference is, right?
But if you look closely at that post, you'll see there's a lot of residual around it. That's because the caps we use to get that stage effect and that sound are freaking loud. They're meant for stages. They're meant for outdoor performances. And when that hammer hits, we get quite a nice bang. I'm not going to do this in here. I love my cats too much. And I don't know what the neighbors will think. So, but this is basically a stage weapon. It doesn't have the pan. It looks good. People don't think about the fact that it's a post, and it gets a good bang without having to worry about legalities. And give me the little naval one.
Little Navy pistol.
You want to see the difference?
Little dainty little Navy pistol.
Hold up yours still. There you go. There's a commanding officer Navy pistol. And there's a good pirate flintlock, and you can see the difference. Again, the senior officers in the Navy have these issues with having everything small and very subtle and not so obvious. Whereas pirates want to scare you before they even get a chance to shoot you.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, they'd rather not shoot you because they usually need more crew. When you take down a Navy vessel, you take the senior officers, you tie the senior officer, like the captain and his first mate, to your mast. You make the rest of the crew watch as you kill the captain, and of course later use them for shark bait, and give them the choice.
Make the rest of his crew watch as you kill him.
Make the rest of his crew watch as you kill him, and then you give them a choice when everything's said and done. Are you joining the pirates, or are we dropping you somewhere? We might drop you before we even get there.
Yep.
So yeah, because of course pirates need crew, but look at the difference. They just
got the good 3-4 inches on them, you know.
It's cute and all, but Come on, even Charity uses a bigger gun, and she's an ex-noble.
We didn't bring the actual blunderbuss, did we?
No, the blunderbuss is still in the lockup.
Yep.
Which is where these are going back.
Yep. First thing tomorrow.
Always treat a gun like it's real.
Yep.
They like things big. Yes. It fires blanks. Basically, yeah.
They fire caps, so nothing ever goes down like into or comes out of the barrel.
Not the kind of broadcast. That's right. We've done black powder. There's a video up there that's a Jade Dragon Pirates train for black powder or something like that, and it's us in our civvies getting our training, but we haven't done black powder since we moved because there really hasn't been the opportunity out here.
Yeah.
Probably one day.
One day. Yeah.
I
Well, once
wouldn't
the lockdowns lift and everything too,
Yeah.
there are groups out there. Yeah.
Flintlocks take forever, and that's why you get the image of the pirate with like 5 or 6, guns.
Each one is loaded and ready.
Each one's loaded and ready. Just pull them out and fire away.
Mhm.
So weapons are, of course, a big thing.
Mhm.
Now, we started talking about flags. We can keep going, and then
We
we've got
did.
games, and we've got food, and we've got all these things that we teach the
So
kids.
we're gonna do fun with flags.
What are you, Sheldon?
It's time for fun with flags.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. When we talk
Oh.
about costume, can I get my foot up? You know that stereotype about the pirate with the heeled boots and everything? That's a no. He'd wipe out on deck the first chance it gets wet. The most common type of boot was actually.
Harold says he has 2 flint muskets and Daniel has 1. Wow.
Do you guys go shooting?
Do you know
Martin and I
where?
are itching.
Oh, we so badly
Been
want
so
to get
long.
back to shooting
I have to remember
flintlocks
how to do
again.
it,
Yeah.
how to load it all. We'll talk later. We'll talk.
We'll talk.
We'll coffee
We'll
talk.
parlay. No, we'll parlay.
Parlay. Yeah.
Parlay. Yeah.
Parlay is negotiate.
Mhm.
Ready? I'm going to get my foot up. You're
You
going to.
get your foot up here? Okay.
I'm going to try
Oh,
to get my
you
foot up here.
gonna.
So it's
All
in
right.
shot.
Let's see what we
Ready?
can do here. Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. All right. We're good.
These are moccasins. These
Actually, you know what? You got the wrong one up. They can't see the buttons. Let's try that again.
What you want me to? Oh, jeez.
Swing it around.
What do you think I am, a contortionist? Ready?
Cap gun versions. Okay.
Why don't you just reach down and grab?
Or lift her up.
Cap gun versions. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's in frame.
Are you happy now? No.
I'm excellent.
The reason why they wore moccasins more than boots is because of flexibility of a mock. If you have to climb the rigging, if you have to get from one point to another, I mean, I've got a modern sole on these, but they're still basically the same thing. These are buffalo hide. They didn't go out and hunt the buffalo. They're already dead
Mhm,
buffalo. And they cost me a pretty penny, but it took me about 4 years to save up for them. And once I got them, they custom made them to fit my foot. I don't have to wear socks. If it's like right now, I'm not wearing socks. They're straight in the boot. It's literally like wearing a fancy leather sock.
Mhm.
And the advantage is, your foot is flexible enough to get around things. So you can climb the rigging, you can walk the railing, you can do much more with these than you can with the stereotypical boots you see. Now, the boots you see with the big foldovers, those were common in the Navy. Again, the Navy.
The
And
Navy.
That foldover was designed to come up over your knee when it's cold weather and lace up the back. And when it's warmer weather, you unlace it and you let it fall down.
Mhm.
We really didn't care as pirates. We
No.
wore long underwear if we had to and just dealt with it. We wanted to be able to do everything and get everything done.
Mhm.
So this is more a pirate boot than the stereotypical pirate boot you see nowadays. We have to replace Martin's mocks.
Oh,
His are laced in the front.
my suede ones are just they're falling apart. They're a lot cheaper than hers were though, so
Yeah.
they weren't custom job. They were not
Peg
a custom
leg.
job.
Usually, if you had a peg leg, you were let off with pay, and
Mhm.
you weren't useful anymore. Again, that's a miss. Once you lose a serious limb, you get to retire early.
Yep.
There were people who decided, last minute that's it. I've done this way too often, and I don't want to be a pirate anymore. And they will cut off a part, or they will purposely get hurt in battle, just so they can be retired.
It's like in the army shooting yourself in the foot to get discharged, right? So
The guns, which is more heavier, depends on the grip of the guns, which is more heavier. In what way? Like, I mean, the naval one is lighter weight because it's smaller, but
Yeah.
not really.
I mean, a blunderbuss is definitely a two-handed firearm because you
I don't have a
have
parrot.
to hold
I
it
used
like
to
a
have a parrot
shot.
back in BC
shotgun.
because I borrowed a parrot from someone, but now it's in frame. Okay, Fort George 1812 Scout Camp versions. Oh, nice.
In the Navy.
I also see those boots in wrestling. This is true,
Yeah,
Jesse.
very, very similar. It's the soft soles that allow for a lot more flexibility.
He has
Right.
blue suede shoes. Those are black.
They're black suede,
They're
black suede
suede
boots.
I'd like to see if I can talk you into brown because your vest is brown, isn't it? Or oh, did
No,
you?
the vest is that sort of dark brownish, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love your boots to match your vest.
I guess green wouldn't work, right? The dark green.
Ew. Now we're getting
No.
ridiculous.
Well,
I don't have
coat's
purple
green, yeah.
boots.
That's true. You don't. You have purple on your boots.
The laces.
That's true.
You want green laces? We'll do green laces.
We could do green laces. Why? What's with the New York thing all of a
I
sudden?
don't know. It just kind of came.
Yeah,
Just
I
kind of
bet.
happened.
I bet it did. Cindy Lauper going on here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to the pirate thing.
So I'm going to remind everyone, though, when I have a chance, just in case people have to dash, that the next story time is steampunk, which is also kind of history in some ways.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a futuristic history, and it's still $5 for sponsorship or $5 worth of awards, and you get written into the steampunk story. And folks, I'm going to put up next week. I'm going to put up the archetypes. So any one of you, we'll make sure we let you know when it goes up. So of course, the first people who get right on it are the ones who get to pick first, and then what's left is anyone who's who delayed. And yeah, remember, if you're a $5 and up sponsor, make sure I get an email with your email address so I can give you the discount code for the store. Okay. So if you haven't done that yet and you're a new sponsor, please do so. And that would be Car Hunger, CARR,
HUNGER.
at Car Hunger, CARR
HUNGER.
.com. Okay? Let's see those emails come in. Okay. I need more look at. There's a lot of pirate folklore. Of course. When are you doing it?
It will be towards the end of June.
It's usually the last weekend of June.
Yeah. We haven't actually set the date yet, so.
We'll confirm when we find out whether or not something else is happening, because we may have to change the time a little bit or the date depending on work. So it's usually the last weekend of June, like the last weekend of each month. I mean, this last one we had to double time it between
Anime North panels and our story time. So yeah.
So keep your eyes open for updates. And thank you, Eric. That's right. Vince is right. Check out our store at carhunger.ca.
That's right.
.ca.com. And more stuff is going up as we finish it.
Yep.
And we're still learning how to run an online store. That's been interesting. And hey, when it comes to like language and stuff, because I see some of you guys using it to a certain degree. Did you know it isn't R? It's YAR.
YAR.
YAR, not ARR. Because the yard arm is a part of the boat at the bottom of the sail. And when a good gust of wind would come by, that yard arm would swing across the deck. And if you weren't paying attention, well, that sucker would hit you in the back of the head.
Yep.
And you're overboard and you're gone. So instead of going, watch out or
Look
hit
out
the
for
deck
the yard
or
arm.
anything like that, they would, whoever saw it coming would holler yar. And you had to hit the deck to get out of the way. If you hear that word, you just hit that deck. You don't even bother looking for which yard arm is coming at you.
So
get out of its way.
Some people have the misconception that R is that sort of method of acknowledgement. Like I understand. No, usually that's I. Right.
I is something completely different, and it's AYE, not EYE. But yes, YAR is short for yard arm. So when you say YAR, everyone around you should be hitting the deck. Literally just making themselves as flat as possible. Yeah. But so you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, That's right. If you don't pay attention, you're going down. You're going right over. Jazzy's got it. So excited. Thank you, Desiree. What sharks did they see? Great whites? Depends on where you were.
All kinds, like through whatever's in the Caribbean. There's tiger sharks and great whites, and no, tiger sharks are more Australia, aren't they? So,
Natasha Yar.
Natasha Yar.
I didn't even think about that. I wonder if someone's got to have done that in a meme or something by now.
Yeah.
Come on. So the captain's chest is big.
So you say.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying it's ample.
Yes, I have an ample chest.
Hit
The deck means dancing. During the festival, do you guys bring plenty of treasure chests? Yeah, we bring more than what you see here. But
We've
that's
got a
because
bunch.
We're hiding, we're hiding things
We-
like
we had
liquid and ice and
We had a bit of a
food
treasure
and-
chest problem in BC in that every time we saw a really cool looking
Right.
one, we would buy it.
nice. But we had to leave a lot of them behind too. So if you can bring the toy chest a little more towards me,
The games chest.
games,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
because it helps in supporting. Because
I
this
swear,
sucker's heavy.
Captain's chest is heavier than the games chest.
Oh yeah, it's smaller, but it's heavier. This is my chest.
Revel, enjoy.
Enjoy my chest. It has a lock on it, but I took it off before we came to air just so it's easier on me.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah, we had to decide that this is what I use when we do trivia. This is what I use when we get the kids captivated and when we teach them about some of the basics. In here is all the things that a captain would have in one way, shape, or form. Again, some of it's a little more modern. Some of it's not. You've got your quartermaster's bag.
I do. Hmm.
If you can pull out the quartermaster's bag, you're. Oh,
See,
please don't cry.
The captain gets a chest. Quartermaster gets a sack. Says a lot right there.
Yeah, it does. Love your chest, Chris.
It's not
It's
that
not
kind of comment.
Wink, wink. Oh, we do it all the time. It's great because the kids don't catch it, but the parents always do.
And sometimes the kids do catch it and they giggle. That kind of awkward.
That's because
Oh,
they
you're
got good
saying naughty
parents.
words. Giggle.
That's because they got good parents.
That's because they've got good parents and they
So-
have well-adjusted households.
One of the things that the quartermaster always has that he must share with the captain on a regular basis is his little book, and inside his little book is all the documentation. Here, go to one page, any page, of what's on board. What did we get from the last ship we took down? What's the value? Basically, it's a complete list. It's the quartermaster's job to keep that list. But there's absolutely nothing in the captain's chest that she has to share with the quartermaster.
Yep.
And yes, folks, we actually do have inkwells
There's a
and the
page
appropriate
removed.
pens, and we write in these things as if we were in history. Damn, it took long. There's a page missing. That was
So let's
that was one of the
take a look
storylines.
here. September 30th, take small vessel. Black powder, 10 dried meat, 1 barrel of rum, 6 hardtack, 2 daggers. Distribute per agreements. Myself, 150 coins. Cobbs, 100 coins. Captain, 300 coins. Crew, 25 coins each. Note, captain's... I can't read that anymore.
He can't read his own handwriting. It's a
Yeah, I
problem.
know.
Well, the quartermaster keeps a documentation of everything coming on board and where it goes, which crew member gets what. Sometimes it's a value, so they'll sell it, and that's why there's no trading, because then you can't split it amongst the crew.
See, he's basically the ship's accountant.
And
This
distributor.
the least boring accountant job ever when you think of it.
That's true, but if they take your hands, you're useless. You know that.
Oh, I know, yeah.
You're just completely useless. So I need you to hold this lid because there's nothing to keep it from going all the way, and it's starting.
Oh, yeah.
We have to put a
You
new
need to put a little
a new
chain
thing.
or a keeper or
So
something
we're
on the
gonna-
lid.
we're gonna-
Put it right
We're
there.
gonna do that. Yes. So, don't ask about the rope. That was from something. That was from a storyline. So, the captain's chest. The captain has their own kind of little combination of things that they know they're always going to use at one point or another. Must have been some rough seas.
when you were reading that page.
Yeah, that's or he was drunk again,
Maybe. Yeah.
which is also a misdemeanor. You weren't allowed to get drunk.
A misconception.
misconception. You weren't allowed to get drunk.
It was also a misdemeanor, I guess, if you got drunk on
That's
ship.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. You were allowed to get drunk when you were on shore because if you didn't make it back to the vessel, they sailed without you, and you didn't get your pay. Never give them their pay before they go to shore.
Mm.
Always give them their pay after.
Yeah. Or they will spend all their pay and they'll have nothing left.
and they will have
Because
no
that's
reason
what
to come
pirates
back on board.
Yeah.
So if they save their pay and they're wise, they'll have more money to drink when we get to shore.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you were not allowed to get drunk, because think about it. If a Navy vessel takes you down and your crew's drunk, you're done.
Yeah. There's no way you're going to be able to respond in time.
Grog was literally small amounts of alcohol poured into the water supply in order to keep it sanitary. For the British Columbia, the TELUS World of Science, when we came in and did this for them, we actually went out of our way to take a jug, a big glass jug, and make it like they would have the water back then. We took a bit of stale beer and we filled the jug with water, and we put a tiny bit of stale beer inside, just like half a glass type thing, and about half a sleeve, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And we put it out in the sun, because that's what would have happened. And we used glass in order to speed up the process. The barrels would still heat up the same way. And the stuff that was floating around in it
was terrible.
gross. So you can only imagine what it would be like getting fresh water from a stream and going out to sea where you needed that fresh water to stay okay. And the only way you could think of keeping it sterile is to put a bit of beer in it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gross. I was just looking it up to the light, and I looked at the rest of the crew and said, "So, folks, this is what we would have drank. I catch any of you drinking this in real life, I swear you die, and we're just moving on. We're not even going to stop for your
21st century people, our systems are not attuned to handling that kind of stuff.
At the time, one of my actors did decide after the show was done, because he said, "What are you going to do with it?" And I said, "I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to dump it in my backyard and just let it deteriorate into the grass." And he said, "Oh, I want to try it before you do that." And I'm like, "You're serious, right?" He said, "What? The gig's over with. We don't have a gig for about 2 weeks. I'll be fine."
Apparently, he wasn't worried about his job either.
My insurance won't cover you now, so sure. And he took a couple of gulps, and he called me the next day and said that he was stuck to the toilet because his body won't stop running.
Yep. It's Montezuma's revenge.
Oh, darling, I just looked at him and said, "I don't know why I keep you."
Method actors.
Yeah. Must have been some rough season. Does a pirate have a pipe to smoke? Yes, I've got one in my hand, actually. Do you guys get to taste it? Well, he did, and he should not have. Yuck, yeah, just a reason. Yuck,
Yep.
Yeah, you is right, Vince. You. Don't be stupid. It was a different time. When you went to the washroom, you had to put your butt over the rail.
Yep.
Even
she would have.
Yep. Yeah, that's the way you went.
There was no ship's washroom.
Nope. Nope. There was a hole in the lower deck. And yes, ladies, if you were stuck on a ship and it was a ship of a type that had no head, because heads didn't exist until the 1900s. Heads are the washrooms. You either peed in a bucket and then dumped it overboard, or you used a kind of trough, which is basically a piece of wood. Hopefully it's cleaned off enough, because splinters are painful down there. And you cupped it underneath, and you got your handmaidens, if you were a lady, to stand there and provide a visual block. And you'd pee off the edge.
A spigot, basically.
And please make sure that you're on the side of the ship where the wind is not blowing towards the deck.
Yeah.
Especially you, gentlemen, because you don't have a big
I love the spray of the salt sea air. It's like Admiral, that's not the sea air.
This is Charity's pipe, and yes, I have smoked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do casually, especially when we're in character, every once in a while, if there's a more mature audience, we will treat ourselves to a pipe or to a cigar. This one I had to stop using because we had a volunteer who, when we left her with the tent to keep an eye on things, decided to pull it out and put it in her mouth so she could pretend she was the captain. And other than the whole, you should make sure it's sterile before you put it in your mouth, and I needed it to act with, I don't want to put it in mine, she bit down on it.
And broke the mouthpiece.
Pipes like this, you don't do that. You'd never bite down. So she snapped the mouthpiece. So now to try to smoke this will cut open my lip. And that's a $70 pipe. US. I was not happy with her. So that's when I started putting an actual lock on my chest. So whenever I came and went from the tent, it was always locked. So no volunteer will be a smart aleck crew member and do that again. So, but it stays in here because it's still a good visual prop, and I don't have the money to replace it. Actually, Charity has started smoking cigars more than pipes, simply because it's easier and it's more cost effective for me to do it that way. And Martin's character and Martin casually as well
Has
in
taken
real
on the
life,
pipe. Yep.
smokes a pipe, and I love his pipe. It's beautiful. It's in the other room, but the spray of urine, yeah. Days, did you have to take a leak over the rails? Yes. Yes. So, yeah. Now, some of you will have known about this new trend that is actually an old trend, and that's waxed cotton to keep your food preserved. This actually did exist back then. A lot of times
And
it
a
was
nice view award.
candle
Thank you,
wax.
Katrina.
Oh, thank you. Thank
What
you.
do we
Thank
do
you.
for
Thank
the
you.
nice
Thank you.
view? Is like
It was this. Yeah.
oh,
This is
yeah.
Nice View Award. Oh, look.
Oh, look,
That's a nice view.
that's a nice view.
So this was actually around back then, and basically what it is it's a cotton dipped in wax. Of course, it was candle wax, but then back then candle wax was beeswax.
Yep.
But you can buy these things at festivals now, which is great because I can now historically do this. And basically, you wrap your food in it, and it keeps your food protected, keeps the moisture off. And when you're on a ship, of course, moisture is your biggest enemy. So I always say to kids, when I open it up and I tell them about the wax, I always pull out the dried fruit and I say, what is that? And they have to guess. So things like dried apples, prunes, not mushrooms. Actually, yeah, they dried mushrooms too.
Yep.
They dried pears. They dried anything they could dry. What am I thinking? Apricots.
Mm-hmm.
They dried whatever the fresh fruit did not exist on board ship.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't. There was no
Nope.
point.
Couldn't survive.
The whole apple barrel thing, for a Navy vessel that had a point A and a point B, sure. Privateers to a certain degree, sure. Pirate ship, no. Because you never ever know when you're going to make land again. So you put on board as much dried fruit as you could get your hands on. And it was up to the quartermaster, of course, to find all that when we go to shore. Quartermasters spent more time restocking your ship than they did, going out and partying. Is this the hardtack? I think this is the hardtack. Again, waxed cotton. All right, with a nice view. Used your hand as a telescope. I have a telescope. Hang on. Actually, Martin, is this blocking it? Drop it a little bit more. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Yes, this is the hardtack. Okay. Hardtack, I always get the best response from kids. Historically, hardtack was their bread. When you think about it, it's the predecessor to the modern cracker. Yep. In order to, first I'd get the kids to guess. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they wouldn't. But I'd be sitting there and I'd be going like this. Oh, it's gotten soft because of the...
Oh, has it? Yeah.
Yep. There, that's a corner
better,
that's still hard. Well, usually hardtack is in cheesecloth. So hardtack, and this one looks like it's collapsed too. Hardtack was literally wheat, water, and a little bit of salt, baked and baked and baked until there's absolutely no moisture left in it. Reason, again, yeast, you don't use yeast because yeast makes it fluffy and it rots it faster. We use the yeast in bread, right? You did not use yeast in this.
And pizza crust.
And pizza crust, yes. and you bake it so much that there's no water in it, that way it doesn't rot on board. But there was always these little holes. Well, the little holes aren't from baking it. The little holes are because wood bugs used to get on board and they couldn't eat the wood of the ship because the ship would be oiled, which is why you can send a ship up in flames because there's oil all over it. So the bugs would drill their way into the hardtack and they would lay their eggs in the hardtack. And of course, the only way to eat the hardtack without breaking what teeth you have left is to dip it in liquid. So your stew, your water, we let the kids say your rum because Pirates of the Caribbean, and it softens, and then all the bugs come out of the hardtack and go into your food.
Mm.
And every single time we go through this with the kids, more often than not, it's the girls. There's a few girls who've gone yum. More often than not, it's the girls that go ew, and the boys that go yeah, yum. And I stay in character because I really don't care as a me, as a Christina, but I stay in character and go, yes, it's horrible. I had to get used to eating it. And the crew always says,
but Captain, it is extra protein.
yeah. Yeah. So this was our idea of bread on board. It's not the most pleasant stuff to eat. I had one kid, like kids sometimes try to bite into it. And I'm like, not without your parents' permission, because if you've got fillings, they're done.
Yeah, you will break a tooth. It's so hard. It needs to be soaked. So
some people eat bugs. Yeah. Yuck. Yeah. Can you make a remake version of a hardtack cracker? Well, we made all our we made 2 big sheets of hardtack. Slowly they're breaking and falling apart, which is part of the reason why I put it in
that piece is probably about 10 years old.
Yeah, at least.
At
Well,
least maybe 15.
Because we started doing this the first year.
That's right.
Like before we even started the festival. So that's 2005.
Mm-hmm. So at least 16 years
it's
old. Then,
2021. Yeah. That's a 16-year-old piece of bread. I love the kids. It's like, just don't do that. My personal dice, my wooden dice, which they are hard to throw, but they were a gift. Those are the extra pins and buttons, so I can indicate my crew. The captain also has the biggest collection of coins, and most of their jewelry or their stones or stuff are in a bag in their chest. They don't keep them on them because it's dangerous to keep them on them. So we got big coins here. We got small coins. We got coins from different countries. And that all stays locked inside the captain's chest. So each day I would basically take out, especially if we're going to shore, I would take out only what I need and put it on one of my pouches, one of the small little pouches, so that it's really hard to rob me. That's the warrant for my arrest. We don't have to read that, do we?
No.
That's the rules of the ship.
Yep.
Yes, every pirate ship has its own set of rules.
It was like a constitution for the ship, right? A charter.
Did the pirates have rations? Yes, they did.
Yep.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. But basically everything was preserved or dried out in one way, shape, or form just because of the conditions on the ship. Very rarely did you get fresh meat, fresh food, fruit and vegetable and that sort of thing. That's why scurvy was a big problem on the ships, right?
Tobacco. It's a small tobacco supply somewhere in here. I'm going to talk about pieces of 8 in a moment. Somewhere in here is my personal tobacco, which is a better story. A much better story.
Wait, there's a warrant for the captain's arrest? There have been several over the years, over the centuries, as it were.
Oops. Remember the one that we made that included Cobbs, included my first mate?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like one of the list of things that Cobbs did that they wanted to drag him in for was what was it? Devaluing animals.
Yes.
In other words, yeah.
Unspeakable acts with animals, I think, was one of the.
The original write-up of that warrant said deflowering, and then we thought that was a little too direct, so we put devaluing, because it's not like the animal approved. Pieces of 8. This technically is not a piece of 8, because pieces of 8 is referred to a 1/8 of a coin. So they started doing this because the Spaniards refused to make smaller denominations of coins. And the value of their coins were going down so drastically, no one could do business anymore. So people started cutting the coins into 8. So one coin cut into 8. So a piece of 8 is 1/8 of the actual coin. Now these are made smaller just for the sake of being able to put in a pouch and not be so heavy. And we give these out like when we have a birthday kid. A birthday kid gets a shilling or my brain just went blank.
A doubloon.
A doubloon.
Mm.
But we didn't want to hand them full size. But a full size doubloon is about that big. So a piece of 8 is not as tiny as it would be if you cut this one into 8s. But these are my small ones that I hand out to the kids. You know, it's their birthday or they do something super special or whatever. But yes, a piece of 8 is not the coin. A piece of 8 is 1/8 of the coin. The audio is getting static.
Is anyone else getting that?
Bestiality, yeah. Your audio is messing up.
Yeah, here, hold
Okay.
it for a sec. Let me double check like it was fully charged and it shouldn't be so. Yeah, no, it's good.
Yes. Okay, let me increase the audio in here. Will it let me hear it?
Oh, it's in the earbuds.
We'll put the earbuds to your ear, and let's hear, obviously, your other ear. Okay, so talk.
Sounds good.
We're good here?
Yeah.
So it's somewhere leaving the house. Okay.
Possibly, yeah.
So, oh, it's better now. Well, of course it is,
Okay,
because
so it
we
could have been
checked.
a little bit of a glitch.
Of course it's better. We checked. That's how it works. So we don't know what happened, folks. We're sorry. If there's anything you missed, by all means, feel free to ask questions. Now, of course, the captain's chest is pretty endless here.
It's a chest of holding.
There's my chunk of gold. It's not. It's pyrite. But that's not what I tell the kids. That's my good luck chunk of gold. It's nice pyrite orb. We use pyrite a lot to pretend gold. There's my lock, by the way. The key is on my belt, but there's my little lock. There's my little lock. Basic, simple lock.
Historically accurate.
Keep them out of my chest.
Good luck.
Good luck, Hart. I think it was when you were looking down. Interesting. There you go. There's my small spyglass.
Yeah.
Captain's got her own spyglass. These are actually a pain in the butt to focus, because in order to focus a spyglass, people think it's really easy. No, it's not. In order to focus an old spyglass, basically it's the length, right? So sometimes it's the smaller the spyglass, the harder it is to focus. The larger the spyglass, the easier it is to focus. So you got to very, very gently just kind of make it a tiny bit shorter, and then look in it and see if you're okay, and then a tiny bit shorter, or longer depending. But yes, spyglasses are actually a pain in the butt to get in focus. So if you're ever playing with a spyglass and you're really frustrated because it didn't get in focus, yeah, that's okay. That's pretty authentic. It's pretty typical. So yeah, it's just a matter of the sliding in and out, but sometimes it's a teeny tiny amount. That's just the kids' plastic rings. I always keep those in here too. Now, you see, part of the reason why you usually get voted in as captain is because you're the only one that can read, other than your quartermaster, of course. And a lot of times the quartermaster has to learn.
That's true, yeah.
But since your captain normally was your quartermaster, well, so Charity keeps all her precious things, all her most important things, in a fake book. This was actually really common back then. Everyone thinks that this is a new idea, that places like Michael sells these things, etc., etc., etc. No, senior officers and captains were doing this, all the way back to the beginning of time. So, yep, Charity keeps her most precious. Yeah. Use binoculars. Binoculars are much easier. So all Charity's precious little things are in here. This is her little secret. She's got, this is my little teeny glass. This thing actually writes. Little teeny glass pen. And it fits in here nicely. And there's a little teeny oil. There it is. There's just enough ink that if she's caught in an emergency, she can still write something. This is her little incense bag. There's no point in burning it. You'll just be wasting it if you burn it. So you put it in a little bag, and every time the crew doesn't have a shower again, every time they haven't been dunked in a week, or the cook is cooking something gross.
What are you saying exactly?
Charity's just going to sit there and go, yep. Because it's expensive to put perfume on you. It's super expensive. So this is the much better way. And you leave it hidden so that the smell doesn't basically wear out. And you scrunch it each and every time. My lucky dice. I've got, I tell the kids they're diamonds. Of course, they're rhinestones. That's closer to the correct size. So you can see it's a bit bigger. I've got pieces of pyrite in here, which of course we tell the kids are gold. Block of gold. In here is my tiny little teeny pieces of pyrite. Again, the birthday kid gets a secret little look inside my book. And I give them one of these. They're just teeny tiny pieces of pyrite. So they get gold because it's their birthday. This is a stone carved dice. I've got 2 of those. Those are my special ones that no one on the crew is allowed to touch. And of course, we got the biggest diamond. It's fake, of course. Shh.
Mm-hmm.
Shh. Don't tell anyone. Now, this is my favorite story. It was very common for senior officers, whether they were on a pirate ship or on a Navy vessel, it was very common for them to carry around tobacco in a much smaller little container that'll fit in their pouches. This is mine. And there's a bit of tobacco in there. And again, the smell of rotting flesh, whether it's animal or human, the smell, there's just some smells that
The stink of death.
nothing can get rid of except tobacco. If you talk to people who are at crime scenes all the time, they will carry around a cigar on them because they want to get past the smell of the body that was just killed. And,
or that's been sitting in the trunk of a car for a week and a half to 3 weeks.
And this is still to this day the best way to do it. Don't bother burning it because then it's wasted. Just stick the tobacco under your nose, and you sit there and you smell it. And these little snap tins are nice and tight, so the smell stays. But it's really easy to smell it through the edge of the tin. So I was at an event in British Columbia. Jesse, you'll appreciate this. And I say to the kids, don't open, but smell it. So each of the kids would smell it. And I'd say, what do you think that is? And it's usually, I don't know. And I get them to think about it. And one of my biggest clues has always been, your parents may smoke it. Now I'm thinking they'll say cigarette, and I can say what's inside of a cigarette, right? No. This one kid looks at me and goes, pot? And I'm like, sorry, what? Marijuana, pot. I said, is that what your parents smoke? Yeah. Well,
this is before it was legalized too,
like,
so this was so funny.
How old are you, child? And he's like, 6. Like, wow, we should have a chat with your parents. I didn't know what to do. I'm just looking at him going,
it was quite humorous, yeah.
No, it's tobacco. If your parents want to save money on pot, maybe they should mix some tobacco in with their pot.
Cut it a little,
Cut it a little, and they'll stretch longer. As long as there's no false teeth. No, there isn't. Is quartermaster like your number one person in keeping the crew in check? Yes and no. It's usually either the quartermaster or the captain's first mate.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on the situation. The quartermaster outranks the captain's first mate. But if the quartermaster is sitting there counting coins and we got a job to do, the first mate steps up to the plate. Hope you don't use that tobacco to chew it and spit it out. Chewing tobacco is something very different.
Yeah.
Smoking tobacco and chewing tobacco are 2 different types of treatments. Yeah. That was fun. And again, that's a container of things for kids. And we have Charity's journal, which we needed for a script 1 year. So I actually sat down with the appropriate type of pen and actually wrote out the personal journal of Charity Ann Rackham. And I got pretty far. I've been thinking of finishing it, but I was also thinking that I've got scans of all these pages. I'm almost considering trying to publish it. Just for the hell of it, because I own the character. So, did I write more? I did write more because I didn't.
Quite an extensive amount there.
I did write more. Oh, the back is blank. So I might have to rescan it. Mm-hmm. So, Charity's journal. You knew you had money if you wrote on one side, because ink usually bleeds through. You don't want to write on 2 sides.
Mm-hmm. So
you were willing to waste paper, which was very expensive. If you're not a noble, you would write on both sides and do your best not to over ink the page.
Vince is asking, what's the first log of the journal?
Well, it's in relation to, like, the very first year of the festival. It's just before it. I'd probably have to change the year for the sake of publishing because we're now doing 1700s. But it's the year of our Lord, 1506, July 1st. I have begun this journey as a method. I've begun this journal as a method of a retreat. In May of this year, I lost my father to the heavens. His passing was swift. I may find some comfort in this. As my mother has passed as well, and I have been promised to another, I have been sent to reside with my uncle in Sussex. I do not feel at home here, but my cousin Davinia is a kind soul and takes time to make me feel welcome. So basically, it's just before she goes to live with her uncle, and she's promised to a man, to marry a man who she doesn't like, and doesn't understand her and doesn't function around her, and her uncle wants her dead because if she dies, then his daughter Davinia can marry the man who Charity is promised to. And in order to get rid of her, he sends her out on a trade negotiation in France. And the ship takes a weird turn, and the captain says to her, listen, your uncle wanted us to go pick up over here some supplies and stuff, and then we're going to go on to France. And she's like, okay. And then partway there, they get attacked by pirates, and the pirates were hired by her uncle to take his own vessel down in order to kill her. And she's the only one that winds up surviving.
Talk about determined, right?
She basically washes up on shore on a desert island or deserted island, because it's not really a desert part of the world.
No, it would have been in the Mediterranean, I guess, or East Atlantic or something.
Yeah. That makes sense. And she winds up about 5 years there alone, and things keep washing up on shore, and she figures out how to fix things. She starts hiding things all over the island, waiting for a day when a ship might find her. She runs out of ink and paper, and that's probably the last entry in here, if I remember correctly, is her saying, I this is the last of my supply. I intend on writing in the sand. So to keep her writing intact, she starts writing in the sand, revenge remarks, for her uncle, and she, if she ever sees him again, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course the water washes it away, so she writes again. And then eventually the Jade Dragon crew comes around, and they're really badly damaged. They have a crappy captain. The captain got killed in the last battle. Their sails are mostly burnt up. Their cannons are in horrible shape. And she says, listen, I've had 5 years of sitting here. I can still barely cook, but I can eat. And I've got cannons that I've hidden on the island. I've got sails that I've hidden on the island. I've got all these things that to keep myself close to sane I've been doing. You make me captain, and I'll not only make sure that your ship is repaired before we leave, because now I'm captain, I'll have an obligation to you, but I know all the ins and outs of the courts. I can get you so much if you make me captain. And that's what they wind up doing. They wind up making her captain in order to watch her take revenge on, the life she grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she does. And that's what we wrote all the stories on, is that revenge level. And she has her own little personal version. It's actually kind of hard to open this thing. Oh, no, it might actually be lucky this time. Her own little personal version of what's called stones, or Mancala. Right, so she's got the little stones, and it's a game. There's a larger version in the trunk under my feet that's easier to see on camera, but she's got her own little personal version, as well as her dice. That if she gets bored and she finds someone to play with, she will do so, because it's her own little personal version. So let's put the trunk completely out of the way.
Completely out of the way. Reload it later on.
I've been thinking of doing the journal. It would probably go in the store. I just have to figure out in what form. Like, am I going to print them out and hand bind them? Or am I going to get a self-publishing thing? Out there, I've lost all the information, unfortunately, because it was years ago. But out there is probably still 3 poetry books with my photography. Because I did self-publish years ago, but that was when we first moved to BC, and things got a little out of hand, and I lost all my ways to get in. I lost my email address. And I didn't diligently stay on top of all that. So yeah, Yeah, somewhere out there, Lulu Press is probably still selling my books, and I'm not getting my cut.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about self-publishing, but it might be kind of cool to do it as a product on our store. Don't know. Taking it day by day lately. She survived was stranded in so she just she realized that she had to do something or she was going to starve. She's still a picky eater. She hates her own cooking. And of course, because it's a pirate ship, she hates the fact that the cook isn't making an extra effort for her.
Yeah.
But she survives because she had to survive. And that's what makes the character so great for the festivals is, this was not uncommon for a noble to basically give up and do something stupid. And some of them survive and some of them don't. But they're always complaining through the whole process.
And I think part of Charity's single-minded goal for survival was getting revenge on her uncle.
In every
she'd
way.
never get revenge on her uncle if she allowed herself to die on this island.
Oh yeah. So let's talk flags. We were going to go to flags and we didn't.
Let's talk flags.
And we've got about half an hour left, so let's talk flags. Feel free, guys, to ask any questions.
Which flag would you like to start with?
Okay, there are 3 types of flags that you will find on a ship, whether it's a pirate ship or a Navy vessel or whatever, especially for the time period. One flag is the flag that belongs to the ship. One flag is the flag that belongs to the captain. And one flag is the flag of any visiting dignitaries or, additional things on board. Basically, they made themselves targets by flying their flags. Mm-hmm. So we have 3 flags when you think about it, because the 3rd flag is the fleet. In our case. Mm-hmm. So the ship's flag, I guess, because we're known as the Jade Dragon Pirates. So the ship's flag is a Welsh sea dragon that was custom designed by a lovely graphic designer in British Columbia, who sat down and did this design for us. But the Jade Dragon is a Welsh dragon on the crossed swords, and his eyes actually he's faded in the sun. The red is faded in the sun, so I may have to redo the red. If there's any red on a pirate flag, any red, it means no quarter given. Mm-hmm. In other words, if we don't need you, we're going to kill you. Now, we wanted to make that subtle because some of the kids get upset with the thought of Charity killing someone. So we made it just the eye so that we don't really always do that with the we kind of judge our audience. And this is what we don't like about virtual, is we can't judge our audience. In person, we can see whether or not there's someone who's sensitive about the characters. So we don't tell them some things. Adjust
accordingly, yeah.
Yeah. Virtually, we can't adjust. But live in person, we can adjust. So some festivals will talk about the red and the flag. Some festivals we won't. It really depends on our audience. But yeah, that's what that means. Any red on a pirate flag, no matter how small, means no quarter given. Usually it's not small because they want it, to be spread out loud. But, it's for us, we keep it small for the sake of the little ones. I would fly that in front of my house. Would the Navy fly a country flag? Yes, Harold, actually.
They would,
They would, which is great because if you're a privateer and you're being hired like by the Scottish Crown, you can easily see which ones are the English ships. Mm-hmm. And you leave the Scottish ships alone and go after the English ships. But you would also have to fly an indicator alongside. So instead of a fleet flag, a privateer ship would have a country flag. So basically, yeah. Now we fabric painted our flags, but normally back then they would have stitched it all down. Mm-hmm. Each part of the flag would be fabric on top of fabric, and it would take quite some time because you had to line up the pieces and then stitch through. So on one side the pattern's forward, on the other side the pattern's backwards when you think about it. But no matter what, it's facing forward.
Which ultimately makes the flag pretty heavy, but this is actually pretty small by comparison to an actual pirate flag.
Yeah. And you know those drawings where the pirate ship is going forward, right? It's going bow first, right? And you see the little flag in the drawing, and the flag is behind the ship. That is wrong. A flag will flag behind your car if you're driving, but your car is not relying on the wind. The wind is blowing your sails, so think about it. Your flag should be facing forward the same as the sails. Unless, of course, your sailboat is using its motor, which is nowadays you're not allowed to have a sailboat of any size or shape without a motor. Because once you're in, a bay or anything like that with a township or a city or whatever, they want you to be able to come and go. They don't want you to have to try to fuss with the wind to try to get to where you belong. So, yeah. So if you're talking about a historical vessel with no engine whatsoever, that flag should be pointing the same way as the sails, not behind. So it's kind of, it's one of those picky things that the really avid historical types, make the dragon flag. Geez, I don't remember.
Well, it took
You have to paint
our
the
artist
white
friend
first.
took a couple of weeks to sort of tweak the design, go through a few different approvals, and then to actually make the flag, maybe a couple of days of.
Yeah, we cut out a big cardboard stencil to make it easier on ourselves. And then we put white down first in order to cancel out the black, and then the green went over top. The very first one we did, the fabric paint was way too thick, and it just didn't fly. I want to make medium-sized ones so that we can put them up behind us and stuff when we have like a tight shot like this. So since country flag was brought up,
Right.
fleet flag, please.
The fleet flag.
So the Rackham.
The Rackham.
Now, this is a flag from history, so we bought this one, but it was an easy way for us to just kind of connect it from history to us. This should be familiar to everyone because they use it in so many things.
They've used it in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, to represent Barbossa.
I know.
I don't know why they used Rackham to represent Barbossa instead of someone like Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Because Barbossa is not a Rackham. Anyway,
No,
that's just
I know.
me. But they used the Rackham flag to represent Barbossa. The Rackham flag did come from history, and because my last name is Rackham, this became our fleet flag. So basically, anyone who was in our fleet has to fly this flag.
All the ships would fly one of these, whereas the previous flag would only be flown by the Jade Dragon itself, by the flagship.
Now, we eventually wrote her son into the scripts, indicating that he might actually be Calico Jack. So what happened is this went from being my fleet flag to being his personal flag, his captain's flag. And we never bothered creating a new one for the fleet,
No.
which is okay.
Mhm.
Historically, we would have done so, but we saw an opportunity to bring the stories to another level that connected us more with actual history. And history buffs were always down our throat, and we're like, listen,
Oh, that's
If-
not real. This is not how history.
if the kids want to learn more, then they will. We sparked their interest. If they don't, they had fun. Don't worry about it. If I come visit you guys in Toronto, I would love to check out a pirate festival.
If the timing's right, yeah.
If the timing's right, yeah. Crackham flag. No, Rackham.
Rackham.
Rackham. Like rack 'em up.
Rackham.
Well, this one isn't letting me access the comments. I'd have to go over there, so I'm staying here. Yes.
And
then this is Charity's flag.
which is the top.
So we took the skull from the Rackham flag.
Yeah, it's just a one-sided.
Yeah, we never finished the other side of this one, which is fine because, right? We also didn't finish the edge. We got to do that someday.
Mm-hmm.
We just never had to yet. So we took the skull from the Rackham flag and we put double dragons on her. And if you look very closely, again, the dragons have red eyes. So that's Charity's personal flag. So this would be on her ship. So, for example, as the admiral, if she's traveling on one of the other ships, they would have to fly this flag. And of course, the Jade Dragon always flies this flag. So the Jade Dragon would fly all three flags on each mast. Thank God we're a caravel.
Mm-hmm. Big enough to be able to fly through three flags.
We used to be a sloop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing too that we kind of toy with is taking another vessel and then changing its name,
renaming it
is bad luck. And Charity's poor little sloop, the original Jade Dragon, was just in bad shape. So she took her uncle's ship, his caravel, and renamed it to the Jade Dragon because it was a larger ship. And even then, pirates don't go very big. if pirates manage to capture a large vessel, it's basically storage. It's in the back all the time. It's the first vessel that they start salvaging parts off of because it's too slow. It's too cumbersome. So they really didn't go past like a 3-masted caravel more often than not, because sloops are the fastest. Sloops can get around you. If you've got enough sloops, you can take down the biggest vessel.
Yeah, they were a lot more maneuverable. They were the attack vessels. The bigger ones usually stayed behind, stayed back a little bit until the attack vessels had taken down the other ships or incapacitated them. And then they would move in and then basically start looting and pillaging the ships.
Look at the first Spanish explorers. Look at the whole Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
They were very small ships.
Yeah.
We were on a replica of the Nina, and it's tiny. And they
And
had
he
a crew.
picked that-
They had how many people on that ship? Over 100 people?
Well, no, they rescued 130 people.
Oh, that's right.
Plus
Yeah.
the crew. The crew was
Plus
only
the crew.
12.
Yeah.
The crew was only a crew of 12. But when the other ships went down,
They
he pulled
all
his
them,
people
yeah.
out of the water.
Yeah. So all 130 or so people had to be on this one tiny little vessel. It was only about 60 feet long. There were people like stacked like cordwood sleeping on deck because there was no room anywhere below deck on the ship for all these people.
They had to
So,
take
yeah.
turns sleeping. So, they'd stand when they're awake, and that's all they did while people were sleeping around their feet. And then the other ones would stand up while they slept. And he wasn't going to leave the crews and the other ships behind. He just wasn't. Columbus, as much as people blame him for bringing disease and stuff, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
He didn't do it on purpose. But he was not going to leave his people behind. When those ships went down, he fished them out of the water and made as much room as he can. But he picked the smallest ship of the fleet for his flagship for the very reason is its maneuverability, its speed, I mean, that was like spending the whole day doing the photo shoots and
I
then
know, yeah.
sitting there drinking in the evening with the actual crew.
Coming back and having a few drinks with the crew. It was great. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
And these people, the reenactors, I guess, the crew members on board the replica vessel, they'd spend weeks on this ship out on the high seas, living like they would have actually been living in the day.
How did that ship look when the guys were on it? Basically, most vessels at the time had tillers, not ship's wheels. Tillers are much more accurate. They're easier to control. They're much more responsive.
Simpler too.
Yeah,
Right.
the ship's wheel has got all these pulleys and cables and stuff to go down to the rudder, whereas a tiller is immediate. Being next to the tiller and being shown how it works, and I mean, same with the Lady Washington and the the Hawaiian chieftain. God rest her little soul.
Yeah.
She's being decommissioned, which is very upsetting. Thank God that the Lady Washington is not. But they're incredible vessels. We spent time with them, and the Lady Washington again has a tiller, but they took out the tiller and put in a ship's wheel for Pirates of the Caribbean. She was one of the ships that they
She
used.
was the interceptor in the first Pirates of the Caribbean film.
And she's a fair size, but still, getting up and down, from below to most of these costumes, there's no way. Like me trying to get around one of those vessels with my sword on my hip, it was next to impossible. I mean, the captain and the senior mates we would spend so much time above deck, and we'd have to take our swords and everything off to get down below deck because they're just clumsy and difficult. And we'd sleep in our clothes just in case someone tries
Just to
board
be
us
at
in
the ready,
middle of
yeah.
night. You don't. I would sleep in my pants and my shirt. I'd probably take my coat and my vest off. My sword would sit by my bed at all times. It wasn't an easy life. It's so romanticized, and we don't mind romanticizing some of it because that's what people want in the story. That's great. Like, I mean, I'm still a sucker for the old black and white swashbuckler films. Yeah, just they're fabulous. They're incredible. But man, we skip over so much fact.
We do, yeah.
We've been on a number of vessels. I think the largest historical vessel was the
the replica of the Bounty.
The Bounty,
Hmm.
which unfortunately went down.
Yeah. She went down in rough seas off the coast of South America a few years ago.
Took two of her crew with her. I mean, they got helicopters over there to pull them out of the water, but the captain and the first mate literally went down with their ship. You know, they were really hoping to be able to keep her from going down, and they just couldn't.
No.
At least he got his crew off first. Like, I mean, he saved the lives of his crew.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's the important thing, you know.
Yeah.
They always say that the captain goes down with the ship because the crew has to be thought of first.
yeah, and he was a father, but you know, his first mate, she had not married yet. She was so young. She was what, 25?
Something like that, yeah.
And the two of them went down.
Hmm.
Big, huge whirlpool just battered her so badly that she just.
Yeah.
She's a huge vessel, but that was it. You know. Missing
Hey,
from
South,
modern-day
how are you?
piracy, the pageantry. There should be more hats
and
and
less RPGs, less rocket propelled grenades.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing too, you know,
Nice.
is being pirate performers and some of our you know, cohorts being pirate reenactors more than performers. They get the brunt of the criticism from people calling on about, oh, you shouldn't be glorifying it because, you know, Somali pirates and all the horrible things that they're doing right now. It's like, yeah, but we're not glorifying that. We're educating on a part of history
And using
that was a very real
we're using
part.
glorification to hide
Exactly.
horror
Yeah.
that parents don't want their kids to know.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we've come across with parents that have said to us, listen, your show was great, but you obviously know more. And it's like, yeah, well, my kid will listen.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll literally
We
dump
want
their
our
child.
kids to learn more. So
You know, we've had like small groups of 5 or 6 kids just sitting around and we'll just keep going and we'll pull out all the stops, you know, and it's great watching the parents go, yeah. And we get tips. We, you know, I know it's a money thing, but it always feels good when a parent comes back and tips again.
Mm-hmm. It's an appreciation that they really appreciate what we're doing and what we've given to their kids, and that's a really good feeling.
There was that one guy at Spokane Renaissance Festival. We'd done the stage show and we'd done all the trivia for the day, and we were still doing, like, some of the kids were still coming by, but I needed to get out of the tent. So I walked up the side of the hill and sat high up on the hill to basically just look down at the event and take a deep breath and just have my moment while these guys were starting to pack things up. And this father and his kids, the one kid was just over energetic. I don't know, maybe a form of autism. It was hard to tell, but there was something like ADHD. It was really difficult to tell. And she was really, really young. And she just sat down next to me and started 1,000 questions, just running them off. And I rolled with every single one. I put the accent back on, you know, even though it was
Put
kind
the
of hurting
character
my
back
throat.
in, yeah.
Put the character right back. And the father was with the other kids, and the mother was with the baby down at the bottom of the hill. And he just kept watching and watching and watching out of the corner of his eye. And she comes running over and she's like, I had a great time. Charity's this, charity's that. And they're leaving, and I'm like, okay, and I'm waving at her, and then I'm just relaxing, and I pulled out my real journal, my Christina journal, and started doing my little entry for the day. And suddenly I hear his voice, because he had quietly come back up the hill, and he said, can I talk to you as you? Sure. You're not the kids, and if that's what you want, like, I mean, technically my day is done. They're going to kick you out soon, right? And he's like, yeah, but I want to talk to you. And he said, listen, you guys come every year, and I've been told you come from Canada. And I'm like, well, yeah. And he says, are Canadians that much more educated? And I said, on average, yes, but there's still a lot that don't want to be educated, so they don't. So we had this great conversation about what it's like to be a performer in Canada, what we get away with in the States that we can't get away with in Canada. You know, he asked me about my finances, like what's rent in somewhere like Vancouver. So we talked about that for a while. And he said, well, I put $30 in your donation at the end of your show. I said, did you? Wow, geez, most people tip like 50 cents or $1 or whatever. I haven't counted it. I always wait till after the day's end. So, because it's rude to count until everyone's gone. And he said, well, it wasn't enough. And I'm like, what? He said, well, how much does this festival pay you? He said, this is one of the smallest festivals we do, one of the furthest drive, but one of the smallest, but our friends run this one. So we asked for gas money and food money. We get maybe about $200 US for the group of us, for gas. That's 3 vehicles. And we get maybe $200 US to feed everyone over the weekend. And if we go over that budget, it's out of our pocket.
Yeah.
We basically live on the tips. And he went, right. And he handed me a $50 bill, reached into his pocket and handed me whatever change was left. And he said, this is so you guys can make sure you eat on the way home. And I was just like, oh, sir, you don't have to do this. And he's like, no, I do. And I just, it's, even if he didn't give me that money, if he gave me a really good thank you, asked for maybe a mailing address, he'll send me a Christmas card. Maybe his kids drew a picture, and we've had people do that.
Plenty of that, yeah.
Yeah, kids will draw pictures, and then we'll find the pictures in the mail when they come, and I'd be just as happy. But it was just like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. And that year it was really nice because we stopped just before the border. And the whole group of us sat down and had a
nice meal,
And we all decided that's what that money was for. And we had a half decent restaurant, right? A really nice restaurant. And we sat down and we stopped and ate. Well, we were there for about an hour and a half.
Oh, easily, yeah.
It was great. And that's what the group decided that's what we should do with that extra money. And that's what we did. And it was really nice to be able to relax and not take the whole drive home in one whole drive. We left about an hour earlier than we normally do, but that was fine. It was great. And because of one person and one kid, we were able to treat ourselves on that trip. And to us, that's the most satisfying thing, That's the most complete thing, and that's the reason why we do these things. Like, we love it when you guys, it's $5, and some of you are able to do more, but we love it making you guys part of the story. I kind of hope one day that we get a ton of people doing it, because that would really help on the bills. But I'm kind of scared of it because that's going to be like the most complicated story ever.
Oh, I know.
We're going to have to do like twice, like do one batch on a Saturday and one batch on a Sunday. But so part of me is like, wow, if that happens, that's a lot of obligation. And then part of me is like, wow, if that happens, this many people love hearing themselves as characters. If it makes you guys happy and we can do our art, that's what we're about.
Yep.
That's what we're about. I mean, this coat needs a dry cleaning, which I'm really happy you guys are virtual right now. Are we?
Because we smell like pirates.
Are we taking a shower tonight?
I think we need to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Just yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No dunking overboard in actual physical shower.
No,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Luke. So you say Iowa. I plan to build a replica of the Titan. No. Oh my God. I don't know who would take that on. I will nominate you guys for the history theme tomorrow.
Excellent.
You guys are educating us on the history. Well, can we be nominated for Broadcast of the Week because our Star Wars one and history?
I have no idea.
Oh my God. No, Vince, if that happens, I swear to God, I'm hugging you like big time when I see you in person. I like going to those festivals. Hi, Luke. We call them Alberta. That's true. What's the one in? Damn it! There is the yearly one in Alberta that's run by one of the libraries. It's where our jousting team.
Camlin.
No, Camlin's in the States. That's in Washington State.
Oh, that's right. No, it was. I can't remember now.
That's okay. Yeah, and we got criticized too with the BC Renaissance Festival because we weren't historically accurate. Renaissance festivals are not intended to be historically accurate. We have a lot of historical influence because we want to teach the kids something. We just don't want them to know they're learning. Because the moment they figure out they're learning,
right there.
Oh, we've lost them. That was a good thing he did. Yeah, we were very happy about that. After the festival, do you guys get to reflect on how the day went during the festival? Well, yeah, we usually light up a cigar or a pipe, and we usually head over to the pub because there's usually something that's been opened, and now our days are done, like the weekend's done, and we'll sit there and we'll have a drink on the house because once those bottles are opened, they can't leave sight. they either have to be dumped or be given away. But it seemed to be the same on both sides of the border. Is once that bottle is open, right? That's why you spend so much money on a glass, because people like us get to share and do that in the end. Sometimes we'll play card games. Sometimes we'll sing sea shanties or whatever wench songs there are, because we've been singing for everyone else over the weekend, so we might as well sing for ourselves.
Now we get to sing for ourselves,
and
for each other, the other performers.
If there's any snacks left behind the bar, we'll sit there and we'll eat peanuts and play card games and sing and have some mead and smoke a cigar. Or, we're not regular smokers. We'll smoke maybe once a month to celebrate. And sometimes when things are overstressed, Martin and I will light up maybe once a week. But it's not. It's not enough for us to be counted as smokers, but it's enough for us
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, to appreciate it and to kind of mentally be there and not. It's jarring. People who just go home after they've been performing a character all weekend, they have a miserable time the first few days back home. They miss the festival so much that they just, and I've always encouraged my actors not to be like that, because we're not reenactors, we're actors, and just take that last night and just defrag, get out of your costume and spend half of the night in the costumes, get out halfway through or something, and just appreciate something. That's something your character would appreciate, but something that you would also appreciate. And it helps. My team usually goes back much more relaxed and much more sane and much more. We've had actors say, no, I got to get back that night. And I'm like, then you're not getting the gig. We're driving 12 hours, to our location. We're there for 4 to 5 days. You're not driving 12 hours back that night after performing in the hot sun in a historical outfit not designed for the hot sun. And no. And I've actually said to people, you're not getting the gig. You're not coming with us, because I'm just, no. You have to be able to defrag, and we drive home together. We play tag teams with the vehicles. We convoy whatever it is that it takes. And, we don't abandon each other. We come up with points on the route where if we get separated, that's where we meet, no matter what.
I think we got some hungry ship's cats milling about.
Cats were actually common on board ships.
They are,
Pirate and Navy. They kept away the rodents.
Yep.
Vessel, do you guys get reflected? You should have stopped at a casino. Put it all on black.
Put it all on black. That's right. Yeah.
Nah. You guys are the best at it, and I thank you both for that. Thank you, Vince.
Thank you.
The Calgary Stampede. No. There's a Renaissance. It's near where the Calgary Stampede happens. It's near Calgary, but it's not Calgary. Darn it.
Brooks.
Brooks.
The Brooks Medieval Fair.
There you go. Brooks.
That's what it is, yeah. In Brooks, Alberta.
Something else. Some of the dice here we made, some of them we didn't. Some of them were gifts. Like all my personal dice that are in the captain's chest were made for me. They were gifts from people who are missing us on the West Coast.
Yep.
So I miss them too, but we had to come home.
Mm-hmm.
Never leave actors behind. That's right.
Nope.
Never leave crew behind. Never leave anyone. If someone dedicates to you, do not abandon them. I will do anything to make sure that if you don't dedicate to me and you're going to be an ass about it all.
Yeah.
And
well, then there was that one time.
What?
Marcus getting lost in the Steveston.
God. Yeah, but
we couldn't find him.
We said we'd stay put, and we did, and he couldn't find us, and there was no way a man takes that long to pee. So the first thing we did was go over to the washrooms to look in the lineup to see if the lineups were that long, but we didn't see him in the lineup.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd wait because we thought maybe we just got there as he went in, and he still didn't show. Yeah, it took us a while to find him after that.
Oops, sorry, Pip.
Vikings favored ginger-colored cats. Yes, they did.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that I became a viewer and a fan of you guys. I will never abandon you guys. Thank you, honey. So do we end this broadcast with games?
Oh, yeah.
The kind of games they played on board a ship. Navy and pirates really weren't that different. We played about the same games. Oh, actually, you want to do me a favor?
What's
Since
that?
we mentioned port, like Charity's favorite drink is port, tawny port.
Right.
And the older the better. Would you go get me the port decanter so we can show them?
Oh, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, a ship's decanter. You still see this style in modern day.
Oh, hi, cats.
But a ship's decanter had a particular shape. And decanters were basically, you had your primary supply, which was a good size. And then you would pour it into the decanter. And the decanter would allow air to aerate, which makes the alcohol, especially if it's something like a port, taste better. So decanters were styled for that. Well, they had to redesign the decanter to function on ships. And you can still get decanters like this these days, but the design originally came from Navy vessels and, of course, pirate vessels. This is Charity's decanter. It's crystal, so we got to be careful. But the reason why decanters looked like this and why they were designed like this, you see how big that flat bottom is? The more common decanter, it looks like just a pouring jug, and they got the little
Oh, we have one of
spigot
those
on top.
too.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do.
But they tend.
We have the claret one.
I'm not talking about the claret one.
No,
the claret
okay.
one was made of metal, so it's
Oh,
metal
that, yeah,
around
we
it, so
don't.
it's heavy. I'm talking about a standard decanter.
Yeah, that we don't.
We don't have. I didn't think we did.
Yeah.
So these were designed to be on ships because they're so wide on the bottom that as the ship rolled, they didn't fall over. And that's why if you look at desks and stuff, a lot of the modern art and a lot of the modern ships, you don't see it as often because there's stabilizers in them and everything. But if you look at like tables or desks or anything that were on an old ship or a sailing vessel, you'll notice they have a lip on them. The lip is to keep things from sliding off as the ship moves.
Mm-hmm.
Because they really didn't have very good stabilizers, if any, back then. So things like this were very common on board a vessel, on board a ship, because they didn't fall over. They would just bump against the little edge, and they would keep from going off. So, of course, Charity's got an appropriate decanter, and we're not going to break that one.
Nope.
This
is a one of a kind.
I can't afford to replace it, and it's one of a kind. That's right. Port, yes. Charity's ship was named before she even came on board. It was always the J Dragon. I don't know how it got its name. I'm assuming its first captain was Welsh, because it's a Welsh dragon and Charity isn't. She's English. So, yeah, because she took over. So, do you put the poet in the decanter? Do you put the cats in the decanter? Port! Yes, we actually do. At events, what I do is I just use grape juice because we're not allowed to drink. As long as there are blades and weapons around us, we're allowed to drink the last night. We're allowed to have some drinks.
Mm-hmm.
But I am very strict, and I've had actors quit over that. But
yeah,
as
whenever
long as
we're performing. Mm-hmm.
As long as there is weapons, as long as as long as we're waking up the next day that we have to get up and do a show, no one touches alcohol to the end of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
There has been one or two exceptions where friends have had, a toast like an anniversary or something like that, and all of my crew get no more than that.
A dram. Uh-huh.
Just a dram, just enough for the toast. Because the last thing I need is someone going stupid, and we hand them a sword the next day to do a show, and even though the weapons don't fire, like the guns don't fire, the cannons don't fire, we still have to treat everything like it's real. We have to. Because last thing I need is a parent freaking out. Adults freaking out because, hey, don't point that thing at me. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Parent freaking out because they think you threatened your child. Your career is over. So, yeah, we are very strict, and we've had people quit because of that. So, and we've had rumors. I've gone through my fair share of slander and rumors. Yes, I am dripping.
Yeah.
I am starting to overheat again.
Yeah.
For a while there, it was impossible to be professional because our previous co-producer just slandered and then pretended to be Martin and I. And I wasn't prepared for that.
Yep.
And that's part of the reason why I moved back to Ontario. I did not realize these characters have a fan following here in Ontario. It was really cool at the Pirate Fest a few years ago. Before the COVID, we were only back in Toronto by about like 3 months, and we were already being thrown into the Pirate Festival. And I thought, no one's going to recognize these characters. We created these characters when we were on the West Coast. Someone in New Orleans might, because I remember bringing the characters out of New Orleans and all that stuff. But in Florida, but they were never here in Ontario. All weekend we had people running up to us, recognizing the Jade Dragon flag, asking when did we arrive and when are we going home, and we're like, we're not going home. Oh yay! And I did not realize we had a fan following here, so it was really exciting.
It was huge, yeah.
And where does the opium go?
In the de-opiumer.
What kind of pirates do they like to drink? You may want to clarify that a little bit for me, Vince. My family is one of those. Silver port strainer. Nice. Yeah, I got that one.
What do
secondhand.
pirates typically like to drink is maybe the question. It's usually whatever they can get their hands on.
Fresh water when they can get it.
Yeah. And again, like mentioned before, they're only allowed to drink when they're on shore.
And
not
they're
on the
really
ship.
controlled by their budget. Like, I mean, the captain's going to get 200 coins, to a crewmate that will get like 25.
Mm-hmm.
So what can they afford? What do they want to spend their money on? If they want a good cooked meal when they go to shore, then,
Mm-hmm.
And even Charity, even though she's got her port on board, she's not going to finish it all. She's not going to get drunk. She'll have her port glasses are like, do you want to go? No, don't worry about it. Port glasses are tiny.
Yeah.
You're not
They're
supposed
only a
to
little bit
down.
more than a shot. They're like a 2-shot glass.
So like the captain, her first mate, the quartermaster and his first mate, the 4 of them would at the end of each day basically defrag. It would be her quarters would consist of a central area where they would have their little meetings, where she would have her desk, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she would have a room
the
to
navigation
one
charts,
side.
yeah.
Usually the captain's quarters, like her sleeping quarters, are to the port. And the quartermaster on a larger ship would have his own room, like in front or behind her. So more to the, more to the bow or the stern. And, and the 2 first mates would be in a smaller room on the other side. On a smaller vessel like the Jade Dragon, I would have my own sleeping quarters, and he would share bunks on the other side of that room with the 2 first mates. But this is it. If you wanted to take down a ship, aim for the bow. Aim for the bow first. Start it getting water in, especially if it's going forward, because then the water splashes. And then aim for the stern on a larger vessel, because that's where the captain's quarters are. If you can take out the bow and the stern, you got it. That vessel's done. The crew is not going to be able to function. So, but if you can't, if your first shots do not take out, and they take out just like a section of the middle, that's no big deal. You've just gave the senior officers a chance to pull their crew together, and you didn't hit the spot where it leaks the most. So yeah, if you ever want to take down a vessel, stern and bow.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Just take it down. The port glasses are tiny. What's the guacamole ration? Do we have guacamole on board our ship?
No, it doesn't keep. It turns brown pretty fast. It's really hard to dry avocado.
Yeah, used to strain the port through a silk handkerchief. That's right. Do you guys try to reenact to find a treasure chest? Well, it's not a reenactment. If an event wants us to be part of a treasure hunt, some of them will do like each tent has got something special.
Like basically becomes like a scavenger hunt through the event, right?
So each vendor and each tent station, the stage performers, it's like if we're doing stage performance, we can't. The stage performers are always on and off, on and off, on and off. Whereas when you're hired to do a station, then it's very different. You can do things like this. And they'll come by and they'll give you the ribbons, or they'll give you a stamp that you have to stamp their little cards when they come into your booth or whatever. We did that with the BC Renaissance Festival too. We gave them a list of all the vendors, and their job, in order to get a prize at the end of the day, was to go to every vendor, and the vendor either gives you their business card or gives you an item with their name and their information on it. And the idea was that the vendors were able to make sure that you brought home their information. So I checked with all the vendors and they said, great idea. Some of them kind of bitched and complained because they didn't pre-plan, so they didn't have business cards. But, they followed through. They actually sat there. One person had little cardboard cards. They cut like cardboard, the really thin white cardboard, into little squares, and they had one of these little stamps with their information on it. So they stamped these little squares all weekend. It was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they bring it all to the front gate to show that they have, and then the front gate goes through them and stamps a hole in each one. And then we had a loop of ribbon through. So all the cards are now nicely together. And then they were handed that back with a certificate of completion, which was a half-page certificate, and a BC Renaissance Festival pin. Mm-hmm. And they were just happy to get the pin. And all those cards are now going home with all these people. So the vendors could possibly make sales after the festival was over.
It's a great marketing opportunity for them. Right.
So sometimes we'll get asked to do things like that. They'll come by and they'll hand us like a pile of ribbons and say that, they're going to come by with a ring, and every booth has a different color. And yours is, we always get green. Gee, I wonder why.
It's the jade dragon thing. Yeah.
And and we'll tie it on the fake gold ring type thing that they gave them. And we've had ones where they hand each booth a series of questions to ask and the answers. And you have to ask them the questions, and they have to get at least one right. And it's usually things like, what's the history of that town? Like Spokane did the whole, what's the history of Spokane, and what's their primary export, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like,
I think I need to step off camera again. I think it's something I ate. I'm not sure, but
okay.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okie dokie. Honey, this has happened a couple times.
Yeah.
Has it been when you've eaten dairy? It's a possibility you have developed a lactose intolerance. And I'm not alone anymore. Yay, I think. Because now we have to buy twice as much Lactaid. No guacamole, no sign up, I'm afraid. Okay. Someone got the pirate sword from you guys. How do you keep the sword clean and not get too dusty or brittle? Again, Vince, it's hard to understand exactly what you're asking. What do you mean by got? No one touches our swords but us. Once your sword is part of your character, your sword is part of your character. You are responsible for that blade. For the whole time in performance. No one touches it. And they don't get brittle. I've had swords in all types of temperatures. Now you see, that's how a chest should open. I don't know if it's on camera or not. But this one's got a little stopper in it, so it doesn't completely go back and snap. Games. Yes, we are running out of time. Actually, we're past the time. I just got something irritating me. Damn it. What do you mean by getting brittle? They're steel. Steel doesn't get brittle. I don't know what you mean by brittle. I'm sorry, Vince. Honey. And they're technically not prop swords. They're referred to as combat swords. They are insured separately from everything else because the damage they can do. I have scars because actors didn't pay attention. But I'm still not 100%. That's okay. My brain turned to mush years ago. I see there's a whole bunch of other stuff in this chest. That's the trivia book. Basically, we just printed out. We've got most of it memorized already now, so we printed out different trivia and we color coded the pages so that it's easy to figure out which one's which. If someone wants trivia in a certain category, and of course, for the new actors who come in, if we have to leave them alone, they're doing trivia. They've got the color code in the front to make it easy on them. Here, since Martin is indisposed, the blue suede is the warrant for my arrest. I don't remember which storyline this was. I've had so many warrants written. It's kind of dull in here, but we did it up like a warrant. We print, and oh, look at that! The wax seal is no longer flexible. So, His Royal Majesty King George the First. So this is all the bad things that apparently I've done. Is this the one that's Charity and Cobbs? Oh yeah, this is Charity and Cobbs. Exclusive of Charity, unlawful murder of the first mate of the King's naval vessel, the Sussex Rose, which was her uncle's ship that she renamed. Yeah, there's so much here. Unlawful murder. Oh, sorry, honey. Indirect manipulation of English law, and therefore the king himself. Abuse of the previously granted status in order to continue illegal activities. Oh, yeah, it just goes on and on and on. And bribing and manipulating the king's officers in order to gain freedom. Extortion of her uncle, the Duke of Sussex, and those associated with him. Exclusive of Jacob, aka Cobbs, Marin, kidnapping and neglect. This is Charity's first mate, resulting in Lady Davinia's death. Support towards Charity and the crew of the Jade Dragon. Disrespect and dismissal of his naval duties, because he's ex-Navy, and his father's position in society. Oh yeah, we really did a number on this warrant. And we had the most annoying character read it all out. Had the most annoying character just read it. How many warrants for my arrest? Since this character was created in both time periods, I'd say at least a dozen. Now remember, this is Charity, not Christina. Okay? That's why we don't call ourselves reenactors or RPG and like role players. Yeah, I know that's a lot, but we had to write new ones all the time. You just and see when the kids do well, or we put these out for donation for people who just want to buy them, but we give them a little Jade Dragon button that says they are now an honorary member of the crew, and so they'll stay in the games chest because they're too big for my personal one. Oh, I know what that is. This is extra, yeah, this is extra stones and extra dice in case some go missing. Pirate's dice. Oh wait, do we have hand sanitizer? Okay. A strange feeling you may need some more food.
So, yeah.
Okay. Pirate's dice is what you see or Liar's dice. There's slight variations to the rules, like most things that go back in time. But it's basically the same thing. You guess what's on the table, and you keep going until you accuse someone of lying, and everyone picks up their cup, and the numbers underneath, like if there's 6 3s or 10 2s or whatever. So you have to kind of do math as to what's left on the table. You have to keep track as to how many dice have been pulled out of play. And if someone was lying, it doesn't necessarily mean they're lying. It just means there isn't that many on the table and they took a huge risk. And they lose a dice if they're lying. And then if they're not lying, you lose a dice. Right? Yes. And it's whoever still has one dice left is the winner. And we made these out of scrap wood that was around, and glued the layers of wood together to make a solid block, and then took a router to it. And this way, one cup goes inside. There's twice as many dice, so there's enough for two people to play. And they get stored like this, so the one cup becomes the lid for the other one. And these have been very handy. They move around, easy to travel with. Yes, yes. This is my mugshot. It is a shot glass. I'm trying to remember the company's name because it was so long ago. It is a shot glass, and it is a mug, but it's the same size as a shot. No, he never did. It is the same size as a shot, and he calls them mug shots. So I had a whole bunch made up for the crew and the senior officers. Mine, for some reason, is not tied to my. It's supposed to be. No, mine was always tied on. Where'd it go? Oh no, it's down there. There it is. So my charity one is tied on. So, I can take a mug shot whenever I want. But we got enough so the crew can drink and toast with us. We just didn't hand out. Only 4 people got their own, and the rest did not. So. We got to make sure one of these is on your outfit. But yes, so they're called mug shots, and I think they're the most adorable thing on the planet. And that, I can't remember what year it was, but that was the year that was my gift to the senior officers. The crew are the people who did the most work. Because the senior officers, for me, when it came to cast, were never necessarily the senior officer characters. They were just the people who did the most work. This is called Shut the Box. Nice. But if you did get arrested, do they put you below deck or the brig? Well, I always got arrested on shore. And I never got arrested at sea. My character always got arrested on shore. Yep. Or the jail, depending on the town.
Talk your way out of it somehow, get pardoned, get
rescued, there was one year they almost hung me.
That's true.
Charity was almost hung.
Her neck was in the noose, and the king came and demanded.
Small shot glasses, yeah. So this is a game called Shut the Box. Oh, this one's broken.
That's the.
Oh, that's the gold one. That's mine. Okay, that's what are you doing with mine then? Put that back into place. Why are there plain dice in mine?
I don't know.
There aren't supposed to be plain dice in mine. Is there black dice in that one? Or did someone take off with my black dice?
There's white dice in this one.
What? Okay, my black dice are missing. Oh no! Shut the Box was a common Navy game. It was shut the box, sort of like Battleship. The quartermaster needs his own. Well, he's got his own mugshot, I think, but it got put away with the rest of them because he was one of the ones that got his own. But Shut the Box was commonly played amongst officers, especially in the Navy, sometimes during Pirates, because it requires math. And crew are not good at math.
Generally not. No.
So very often as well, officers would hide their jewelry inside their Shut the Box. Because the crew wasn't good at math, they didn't play the game, so they left it alone. So at night, senior officers would put the jewelry inside and then shut the box, and no one would touch it. So it was a common place to hide. It's just like Charity hiding in a fake book, stuff in a fake book. Shut the Box is all related on math. And the question is, who can shut the box first? Because these little posts with numbers on it are too tall to be able to shut the box all the way. So the idea is to try to shut the box. Most often than not, you cannot shut the box. So it's whoever has the least left. And you don't go back and forth. You just roll your dice. So take your dice. Martin will take his dice. Feel like I'm part of the crew because I am not good at math either. Oh no! We love teaching the kids this one because we always get the parents involved to help them out. And it's so adorable watching the parents work with them. So because you don't have to wait for the other person. So you can see Martin's rolled double sixes. So that's 12. And I've only rolled a 3. So he's going to make 12 out of there. And I've got to make 3 out of there. Well, it's easy for me. I'm just going to put down my 3. And then I just keep going.
9 and a 3.
Okay, so I got 5 here. So I'm going to put down the 5.
Now I've rolled a 9, so any combination of 3 is 9. Let's go with.
I've got 9, so I'm putting down my 9.
Now it's a strategy too, because there's various combinations that could work that might screw you up in the future when you start rolling large.
I got a 5, 4, and 5.
So that's 8. So
But you have to roll 2 dice, and that's where the problem is.
6 and a 2. So now I've rolled a 7. I've only got one
7, 8.
one combination that is to
8.
drop the number 7. So we're both down to 2 tiles each.
Oh my god.
So I have to roll an 8 or a 1 or a 9. So if it doesn't work,
I failed.
there's 6. So we roll again.
I rolled a 5 and I failed too. Are you tied with me? 8 and a 1 is 9, 7 and 2 are
9.
9. So we're tied. So roll again.
Yep.
Because I refuse to have a tie.
Okay, I rolled a 10.
6.
I can't make 10 with
I
that.
rolled a 6. I can't make. Oh!
I rolled 9.
Oh, you ass. Now, normally you don't. You just declare it a tie. Because you don't know how many rolls the other person already had.
My audio's still off. Sorry, guys.
Oh, your audio's still off?
I thought I hit the button on the microphone when I came back from the head.
Oh, yeah. Vince said, Martin, your audio is not connected.
Yeah.
So technically, you would not break a tie. You would just declare it a tie.
Mm-hmm.
So I insist on a rematch.
Oh, she wants a
I
rematch,
want
does
a
she?
I want a rematch. See, the thing is, you don't have to wait for the other guy, which is nice. But the trick to this, it's always a matter of chance and luck because of the dice.
11.
The trick to this is to try to get rid of your bigger numbers first.
Six. Let's just put down 6. Four. Down 4. 3. We'll put down 3.
Nope, I can't go any further.
8. So let's eliminate small. I actually like to eliminate smaller numbers because it gets harder to create smaller numbers with 2 dice. So for 8, I'm going to drop 7 and 1. Everyone's got their own strategy, right?
I think mine's right.
You're at an impasse right now?
Yep.
Okay,
The
so
story about the little girl and her dad reminded me about the story of the appreciative parent of you and I on the USS Pierce, and that got to over her fear of Klingons in the story I relayed on Facebook about the little visually impaired girl at the ROM learning what a Klingon looked like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We really do get a great experiences, don't we, Harold?
Mm-hmm.
It's so
Pretty
worth
amazing
it.
stuff. So, you got 6, and I
can't go any further.
have 13. I haven't tried yet, so
Well, did you roll it? Okay.
there's my roll. 5. I can drop my 5.
Keep going.
10. Can't.
You can't. So you have 8 left, and I have 6 left.
Yep.
So I
So
won.
you win.
I won. I get to drop the box. So that's a Navy game that a lot of, but it's always senior officers that played it. And like I said, a lot of times they would hide overnight their jewelry and all that kind of
Their
stuff
valuables,
inside in the shut the box, so that they have a greater chance of them being there in the morning. The one of the other common games. This game goes back to like the beginning of time. There's evidence.
Literally.
Yeah, there's evidence that there's variations on this game. They're not 100% sure of the rules. Everyone's kind of guessed, but and then they created the modern version of it. But it goes back really far. I'm going to do a small roll. Usually we put about 7 or 8 in each little pocket, but I'm only going to put about 3. Shut the box. What is the premise of the game in order to win? They have the smallest amount left. The smallest number.
Basically,
left.
they have the lowest score left, right?
Why don't we just do 2?
Yeah.
So normally I put about 6 or 7 of these stones in each little pocket. You can find Mancala online, and there's some variations to the game. So of course, when someone joins the crew, we have to tell them what our variation is, so that we don't play it differently. Basically, you put stones in each little pocket, and you leave the ends open. And of course, a game like this is good because if the ship is moving, it's no big deal.
Mhm.
It's a wide, flat surface. It's also good that if you don't have a board, all you do is use small cups. You don't necessarily have to have a Mancala board.
Mhm.
But again, it's all math. Okay. In this game, it's the opposite. You want to get the most.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So which side do you want?
Um,
Can you guys see that? I shouldn't have picked all the orange ones.
oh, no, yeah, really. They're hard to see against the wood.
Mancala, I grew up playing this a lot. Cool.
Oh, Emily,
let
hey,
us know
hey.
if your rules are different than we're only using 2 stones to make it in order to make it fast. And so cool games to keep themselves distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their brains have got to keep going, right? So you got a
No.
hold of that?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to go first. So because I'm on this side, I'm going to this here. So we should tilt it a tiny bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's on this side, so he's
I'm
going
going to
to
go
go
to
here.
this one. Yeah.
So you get to go again. So basically you count out the stones. So you get to go again if you land on your own.
Right.
So I landed on my own, but it's not very far here. So I'm going to go like this 1, 2. So
Mhm.
Martin,
So I would do this same strategy, right? Like
you
that.
don't have to.
You don't have to.
But now he's got an opening that I didn't have. He can either rescue his stones or steal mine. Don't tell me you don't see that.
Oh.
But no, once you're on my side,
Mm-hmm.
it's no good.
Cool.
Remember,
So-
a blank is a steal.
Blank is a steal. Okay.
So either you're going to rescue yours or steal mine.
I'm
Martin hasn't played this
still not
game in a
sure I
while.
followed. Yeah.
Well, do you want to
So-
rescue yours or steal mine?
Rescue mine
Okay, rescue
Okay,
yours?
yeah.
Well, then play those.
as normal, like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Now,
Mhm.
if you had wanted to steal mine, you take these 2 and go
Mhm.
1, 2, and these become yours.
Oh, I
Been a
forgot about that
while.
version. Yeah.
See, I was going to do 1, 2, 3 and
Right.
take yours.
I see. Yeah.
Right now, keep in mind what I just did because I
Mhm.
just tricked you. Because if
She
you
tricked me.
if you had stolen mine,
Mhm.
I wouldn't have been able to take yours.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Martin?
Mm-hmm.
Martin's not as good with these kind of strategies, which is why I plan a lot of things that he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So now I don't have my empty spot is here. So unless I had a lot to go all the way around, I can't steal his. So
Right. Yeah.
he's got 2 here. So if I play it safe anyway and go 1, 2, 3, he's not going to be able to steal mine anyway now.
Right.
So now it's his next turn. Steal, Emily said. Oh, Martin wasn't listening to you, Emily. Sorry.
Oh no.
How's everything with you? Caroline's cool to play. It is.
Uh-huh.
Just downloaded Haps. This is my first stream. Woohoo!
Hey, Emily.
Hey, Emily, go ahead and subscribe to us. And we do $5 sponsorship and $5 awards story times every month. I'm sure Vince will tell you all about
Mhm.
it while I beat
Yep.
Martin's butt.
I
Okay,
see.
so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which means I go again.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, which means I go again. One, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
So now one of mine is on his side, which means he can play. Like he can use it. But all of mine are clear of his. So he can't.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, Love Bug.
Hey, hi, Ord. Thank you. All right. So 1,
She goes along, I
2,
think. No,
3.
I'm not.
So I can go again.
That's my will. Thank you, Emily. From yesterday, so I'm not watching him, so I'm hoping you guys are.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I went through, I can go again, right?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Nope, you have
Oh,
to,
you have to
land
end on that.
there.
Okay.
But you see, you can steal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then your next turn you can.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But if you steal, then you can't, right?
Right.
Yeah. But you see, I don't like that. So these 4 are mine.
Oh, look at that.
What?
And that's how that works.
Yes, that's how that works. I mean, I've got 2 right out in the open for you to steal, but you're only going to get 1 out of me. I'm your captain for a reason.
That's right. Yeah.
Waha! So yeah, Mancala is great because you can play it with any kind of stones, any kind of rocks. You can play it anywhere. All you need is a bunch of cups. Is Mancala sort of like Monopoly? Not really.
No.
Don't worry, Emily. I will get you once we're done the broadcast. I will subscribe to you back.
So then, if I get this right,
yes.
if I do that, I can steal this one.
Yes.
Right.
Now there is a variation where yours also goes away, but because we've only got 4 down, like if we had 6 down, I'd do that one.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we only got 4 down, it means I'm trying to get the game to be short so that they're not sitting there kind of bored.
Right.
Okay. Now the goal is to clean out your side too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You clean out your side, you get to steal everything from the other
Right.
side.
Now, because I stole, do I get an extra turn now?
Nope.
No. Okay. So now it's
I
yours.
didn't.
You didn't. I couldn't remember.
Focus, Pinky.
Hmm.
Where did Mancala come from? I'm so happy to see you guys playing this. Thank you. Mancala, there's evidence in like rocks and stuff like that people have been playing it since literally the Stone Age, or at least a variation on it. The newer variations, there's about 6 or 7 variations, but from what they can tell, the base rules that everyone's been working from came from about the 1200s, the 1100s to 1200s, from a lot of the still Celtic tribes and stuff. But they've seen what looks like a Mancala board in Japan, in like all parts of Asia and Africa, and
Egypt, and
So they're not 100% sure. They're not even 100% sure where the most modern variation comes from.
It came from aliens.
That's right.
I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
It came from aliens. You're not saying it's aliens, but it came from aliens. Make your move. Like I said, I'm playing a slightly different variation because we only put 4 stones in. We put 6. Like, so example, this is probably the move he's about to do. If he steals my guy, normally both of them would go to him. But because I only put 4 per cup down, it's only mine that's going to him.
Yep.
That way the game won't end too soon, but it won't be too long.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
So there's so many variations. Which is why when I say to people, when you download it, make sure you're aware of which variation you're playing. Or you'll lose every time, especially to the computer. Because it knows what variations it's playing.
Now she's going to load my side up again.
Yep. Making it easier for me to empty my side. Aliens! You always played forward first, too. Yeah, normally I play 6. Oh, geez, I don't know why you didn't. Are you actually trying to go around?
Oh, that's true. Now that'll make me.
You see, I go like this and I steal yours.
Right.
Nobody can do. Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Steal yours. That's fine. I really don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you're going to get
Yeah.
these two, right?
Right.
Because you finished your side first. However,
okay.
if you
However.
had done that one and gotten a second turn,
Right.
then you would have been able to do that one as well. And it could have sat there happily because I was already down the board.
Oh, okay.
And the next turn, all you had to do was play that one and then steal the one because my one was there. And we would have finished this a lot earlier.
We would, yeah.
And you would have had more.
So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14.
I'm a
There you go.
huge fan of
So
it.
how does one win? By clearing their side and having more stones in their end pocket than the other
Well,
person.
you can clear your side and still wind up with less, as you proved.
Yeah.
But the idea is to have more in your pocket at the end. So these were actually very common on board ships. Cards were to a certain degree. Again, only if you had a waxed set, which is where the coated lacquer playing card comes from. But only if you had a wax set, because cards would get destroyed so fast. And there goes all your money. Oh, speaking of, I believe in amongst the cards is a certain pirate deck. If any of you really are interested, or you want to support, an artist that is an awesome artist, this is cool. Thank you, Vince. Whoever ends up with all the stones wins. Yes, exactly. We're not all. Well, if you wound up with all the others, all the stones, then that means the other side didn't do anything. Been a while since I played. Pirates didn't play shuffleboard.
Yeah.
No.
A little hard to do on a ship,
A number of years ago. This is the black and white version. I haven't been able to afford the color
Aye,
version.
tonight we be playing shuffleboard on the Lido deck.
They re-released these more recently as a colored deck, and I want to be able to put some money aside and get the colored version, because they basically talked to the pirate community in North America. There's a couple of Europeans in here, but they took a vote amongst the pirates community as to who was going to be in the deck. And if Martin wouldn't mind getting that closer to the camera, Charity got it in the deck. I'm part of a deck of cards.
Trying to reduce the glare. There we go.
I mean, we didn't get paid to be part of the deck of cards, but we got a lot of promo, and we got a free of all four decks because they did different releases. They did like sea creatures and ships and stuff like that. So we got a free deck of each of them, and then we got a full-size print, a large print that's around the corner on the wall of our card. And they've re-released them a couple months ago in full color. So instead of just the Queen of Hearts being, but my character is part of a deck of cards. I am the Queen of Hearts, apparently.
Charity has a joker.
Actually, there's my king, and there's my joker. So there's the suit of all three.
Is it the joker or the jack?
Jack, sorry.
The jack, yeah.
I don't think is there a joker in the deck?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't think there is.
Trying to reduce the glare here so you can.
We'll turn the light down on the camera, because the light's set to get to us over here.
Yeah, that is minimal.
Turn
Try
off.
without the light.
Well, that's better. There you
Yeah,
go.
now you can see.
Just put on a bit of an angle so that the glare doesn't hit
There we
everyone's
go.
faces. See you again soon. Thank you, Emily. So if anyone's interested in these, they're beautiful cards. They really are. I'm rather fond of the Sea Creature deck. But look for Brain Vessel, Brain Vessel, Vessel. And if you type in the search engine Brain Vessel Pirate playing cards and deck, you'll go straight to the purchase page for the new color deck. I don't think they're doing the black and white ones anymore, the grayscale ones anymore. But these guys are brilliant artists, and I completely support them, making their income off their art, because they're an art gallery in the States, and they're incredible. And I was honored to be picked to be the Queen of Hearts. So yeah, it's
Pretty
funky.
awesome.
So folks, we could go on about pirates all day and all night. There's so much more. There's knot tying. There's nautical words. There's types of ships. There's unfortunately, looking at the time, it is 11 o'clock and we've gone way past.
We were thinking 3.5 hours now.
We were thinking 10:30 at the most. So woo!
3 hours and 11 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Vince. So everyone, remember, respect yourself more than anyone else can, and everything will be just fine. And that $5 sponsorship or that $5 award will get you into the next story time, which this time is steampunk. And we do have a store, carhunger.ca. For some reason, the iPad is not letting me get in there to do that. I'm not sure why, but I'll figure it out later on. You heard him meow.
Meow.
The next broadcast will probably be in the office where we're, in reach of the keypad, as opposed to the way it is. But we appreciate the awards. We appreciate the time you guys spend with us. We appreciate the support. And
so
Hathor
does
appreciates the
Hathor.
attention. And I don't know if we can make both broadcast of the week and theme of the week.
I don't know.
That would be awesome. Unless Star Wars counts twice. A long time ago, right?
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to head out. And Martin, say ahoy, Martin.
Ahoy, Martin.
That was Flint. That's nice.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's really nice.
That's good. Yeah.
That's Flint
You
saying
like that?
ahoy,
All right.
Martin to Martin.
Aye.
All right, you're doing the dual personality split thing.
Twitch, 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 twitch.
Started as a gunner, now you're my quartermaster. We are in so much trouble.
Aye.
All right, folks. We'll talk to you all later. And remember, Carhunger, CARR.
HUNGER.
.ca. We're putting stuff in the store as much as we can, so keep checking back. If you've got a $5 and over sponsorship, we give you a code, a 10% discount code for the store. And we appreciate the awards. We appreciate everything. And Facebook and Instagram we use the most. And again, Carhunger, CARR.
HUNGER.
So that's how you can find us. All right, folks, we're gonna dash. Talk to you later. I'm not even sure how Charity usually just rambles off on her own and disappears.
May our ships pass.
Oh, I haven't said that in a long time.
Aye.
May our ships pass peacefully in the night. I say nothing of the day. That's how Charity usually signs off. In other words, if I don't hear you passing me in the middle of the night, you get to go your own way. But during the daytime, I can see you. Boom! All right. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the awards. Ta-ta, guys. Nice. Bye, Jazzy. Don't get arrested. No.
Good night, everyone.
No. Oh, thank you to Vince for putting that up. In closing, KO. Okay.
Ciao.
So, ciao. Okay, I'm going to get you to move
Take a
that out of the
little
way
space.
because I need to get at the video.
Yes.
Oh, actually, I'm going to play the photo shoot video
Oh, yeah.
of when we did the pirate thing, and then I'm going to go straight from that to the closing video. All right, folks. Later. Later, Gators. And now I'm going to put my butt in Martin's face again.
Again.
Yeah, I know. Exciting, huh? Where am I? There it is. All right, later.
Take your
folks.
time.
Sorry, folks, don't know what happened with the one video, but here you go. Good night.
Martin, I need the key. Get your butt over here. I need the key. You want me to drive?
Yeah, sure.
I'll drive.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. You're gonna pack, right?
Sure.
Good.
Hmm.